Street champs, come get put on. Y'all already know the vibes. We are back here for a very, very important sit down. Man, I feel like not only the city of Pueblo, but the state of Colorado has been waiting on this. If you are any somewhat involved in politics, have a Facebook, have really any connection to the outside world, you've seen these guys going crazy on social media. I got Luke, Wodiuk, and Joey Musso right here on Street Champs. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Of course, man. I'm excited to have this conversation. Before we get into everything, I just want to ask, first things first, how's you guys' day been so far?
If I told you, you'd be jealous.
Is that good? Wow, I like it.
I like that.
I like it a lot. Joey, what about you?
It's going good, Had a good breakfast, so.
Oh, that's the most important meal of the day.
Yep, so ready to go.
Well, right on, guys. We have a lot of important stuff to talk about. Before we do all that, I'm just going to double check the sound, make sure that we're live and the people at home can see us and hear us perfectly. Oh, let me double check. This is sometimes when you have sporadic lives with important people, sometimes you just gotta be completely sure. Oh, we got plantar fasciitis ad real quick. But guys at home, please give us a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear us. And also, before we get started, we did invite the current sheriff, David Lucero, to join us in the sit down. He has not responded. The door is not open, but he could knock. There is a seat right there. I'll go right there to this cam. You can see it. There's a seat right there.
Come on, Sheriff. Right here. There's a seat right next to me. Come on. Knock on the door. Come on in here.
It's true. But, okay, yep, we got it. We got sound. All right, Luke, Joey, I want to go right to the beginning. How did you guys meet?
Well, back in, I think, was it 2019 or 2020?
I think it was 2019.
2019, there was a rollover accident at my ranch. Somebody rolled their vehicle, went through my fence, and it rolled into my property. And so I got a phone call. I went out to the ranch and made sure everybody was all right. Everybody was fine. The guy was drunk and seemed like he was also on something. I was in my semi, and he says, hook a chain to it. Let's pull it over and let's get it out. I said, no, the sheriff's on their way. They'll be here. We'll deal with the tow truck when they get here. He got irate when I asked him if he had insurance, because it happens several times a year. I just said, hey, by chance, do you have insurance? And he kept poking at my chest and wanting to fight. And
just random guy.
Yeah, I just dislocated my shoulder like 3 or 4 days before. So I was in a lot of pain, and the chiropractor got it back in. I'm like, I can't fight. Like, my shoulder's jacked. So I calmed him down. And he got mad at me again because I wouldn't flip his vehicle over with the semi and hook a chain to it because he wanted to leave. And so he kept wanting to fight, kept poking me. And I thought, after about 5 times, he kept pushing me and poking me and pushing me. And I was like, you know what? If he does it one more time, I've had it. Well, after about the 7th or 8th time of him doing it, I just knocked him out.
Oh, wow.
I hit him with
One
the arm I
swoop?
dislocated.
Oh, wow.
Didn't think I was going to do it, and he hit the ground, and I was like, oh, shit, I think I killed the guy. I mean, I hit him that hard, and he was out for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, and then all that emotions were coming, He's the one that started the fight, and all the emotions just kept coming, like, I'm going to go to prison. This guy's the one on my property wanting to fight me. He's pushing me, and I'm like, oh, man, and he came too, and I was like, thank God he's not dead.
Wow.
And I walked up to him, and I got close to him. I said, dude, this didn't have to go like this. Like, this didn't have to happen. But you just keep wanting to fight. So I made the mistake, and I got, like, within 2 or 3 feet from him because I actually didn't want to do that. And he jumps forward and grabs me by the ankles. And we hit, and then now he's on the ground. I'm standing up, and he grabs me by the ankles, and the fight goes on again. He's got a knife on his side. He's got his shirt off. He's strong. And I'm like, got a jacked up shoulder. And I was like, here we go again. All I'm thinking is that knife just going in my side. He's gonna grab it and just start hitting me in the side, and all that's going through my head. It's late at night. It's dark, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose my life right here with that dumb knife. Made that mistake. Never walk up to somebody and get within jumping distance. Reaching forward. So we got into it again. He was hitting me. I was hitting him. I knocked him out again.
This guy has horrible.
And he
horrible
was
fighting
tough.
skills.
He was a tough dude. And at that time, I really thought I killed the guy. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to prison the rest of my life over a guy rolling his vehicle through my fence that he's the one that wanted to fight because I wouldn't help him roll his vehicle back on it so he could get out of there. And I was like, all those emotions just come. And then all of a sudden, deputies finally show up. I didn't know Joey at the time. Deputy Beckwith showed up. I was like 100 yards off the road. The guy walked to the road. He was dealing with Musso, and I didn't know Musso at the time, but Musso showed up, and then you could take it from there, Joey.
Yeah, so this guy, he's just up and down, dude. You can tell he was like intoxicated, but it was.
I'm gonna fix your mic. Sorry, keep going. I got you.
Cool. Yeah, so he was definitely something. Cool. Here, you want to? So yeah. Anyway, he was. You can tell he was belligerent, drunk, but I think he was. I still believe that he was on meth to this day. I wasn't the initial investigating officer, but I think this guy was on meth.
Had that meth strength.
Oh yeah, so it's just up and down with this guy, and he ended up coming towards me, and I pushed him back, and then pretty soon the fight's on. I got him and his kid jumping on me, and one of them starts trying to take my gun, and then I hollered that out, and by that time, Luke and his lady actually came to the rescue, and they got this guy off of me and his kid and stuff. So it was pretty cool little story how we met, actually.
I remember I was about 100 yards off the road, and I was talking to Deputy Beckwith, and the guy walked to the road, was dealing with Musso, and I just hear the guy belligerently yelling, and that's what he was doing with me, just belligerently in my face, poking my chest, pushing me, dislocated shoulder, and I'm like, dude, I don't want this. I do not want this. Like, didn't think I could fight.
Yeah.
But my endorphins kicked in and my adrenaline, and I'd
beat the shit out of him. Was he
But
have you seen him to this day? Have you guys ever laid eyes on him again?
No,
but I think I might have seen him one time, and I don't know if he recognized me. But anyway, I just heard Musso yelling, and so I told Beckwith, I said, your deputy's in trouble. I said, that's a tough dude. And I said, and if he's yelling like that, they're getting into it. I said, let's go. So I took off running and got up to the guy, and Deputy Beckwith and we jumped on the guy, and we got him under control. And after they got him in cuffs, before they got him in cuffs, his kid ran over and tried to pull Joey Musso's gun. And later
I had the dad on the ground trying to cuff him up.
Yeah.
And then the kid's jumping on my back.
How old do you think the kid is?
Was he like
he was
17,
about 18.
17,
wow.
18 years old?
Damn, that sucks.
Joey, later in the body camera, you could hear in the body camera that Joey's yelling for his life. He's like, someone's pulling my gun, someone's pulling that gun. At that time, I grabbed the guy, threw him on the ground, and I held him there. And then when they got that guy in custody and they put cuffs on him, they came over and put his son in cuffs.
Were you worried that you were about to lose your life?
Oh, absolutely.
That was going through your mind.
That was that's crazy when you're feeling that tugging, but then you don't want to let go of this guy, but you know someone is behind you. You know what I mean? So you hopefully they all get in on it, and everybody's saved afterwards. So there's so many things that are just running through your mind. Just to keep your own life.
Wow. And then from there, you guys just become buds?
Well, right after that, Joey was all filled with emotions. He was just like, dude, you saved my life. I really believe you saved my life. That guy was going to kill me with my own gun. And
yeah, that's true.
So that's how we became friends. And he decided to run for sheriff. He nominated me for Citizen of the Year, and Southern Colorado Law Enforcement. They said, yeah, we'll give you Citizen of the Year for doing that. And so that was an honor to have. And I never posted that till just a few months ago when the sheriff was messing with me. I took it with honor, and I never put it out there. And then I finally put it out there because, the retaliation, and some people run you down and they make you out to be a bad guy when all you want is goodness for your community. So I said, here, I'll release it. And I didn't want to do that because I just take that stuff with honor, and I don't need to put it out there. But when the sheriff and his cronies are going to run Joey and I down on other pages and have their people do it, which that's my opinion happen, then I'm like, all right, you're going to make us out to be a bad guy here. I got Citizen of the Year 2 times in Pueblo, and I don't need a pat on the back, but I really want the best for this community, and I literally will save anybody's life. I didn't know Joey at the time. I just knew a deputy was in need, and I said, let's engage, because I knew the guy was a tough dude, and he would probably need some help.
It's human nature.
We're not bad guys. There are people that create noise on social media. I mean, another thing, I've taken it with honor too. I've never really put it out there, but I've got life-saving award. Me and Josh Beckwith actually saved an elderly gentleman out in Pueblo West, and you just take it in, and you just want to do good, and you want to do right by people, but some people are losing sight. You know what I mean? We're good guys, just trying to get the message out there, and we know how to utilize social media. Mm-hmm. So some of it comes across controversial, but we truly are pure at heart. Like we want what's best for Pueblo. We want what's best for human beings.
Yeah, I think anyone could see that, man. Obviously, there's a lot of, I would say, side chatter from people who just sit at home and do nothing and just they comment all day. But that's kind of who's on social media, sadly. But I want to get back into the retaliation. But what started the retaliation? What started this entire, I guess, agenda?
So, back when Joey was running for sheriff, mm-hmm. So I spent like 2 years of my life trying to get a new county clerk in. And what started that with the county clerk is, I'm in the car industry, so I'd have to go to the courthouse and file titles, mm-hmm. and file liens and get duplicate titles from the auction. And I'd go do business there. And there would literally be nobody in line, and I'd be the only person there. And I'd say, hey, there's a rule, 4 titles a day, and I might have had 8. They said, hey, if you could just do these other 4, I won't show up tomorrow. And if you are busy tomorrow, that'll free you up than one more person waiting. They used to do it for me, and then they quit doing it. So I said, this is a complete waste of government resources. You got nobody in line, and you can't do 4 more titles. There's nobody. Like, literally, there wasn't one customer out of like 12 clerks. Wow. And I said, this is ridiculous. Let me talk to the boss. So I go in the back and talk to Gilbert Ortiz about it. I said, Gilbert, this has to change. This is not working like it should. The government should actually work for the people instead of making it hard on us and come back. I said, I could imagine if you were busy, then to say, hey, you're at 5 or 6, get out of here. Mm-hmm. But you're literally, there's nobody here to help. And I said, if you don't change this, a lot of dealers are frustrated with you, and they want to unseat you, and they want to get somebody else because you're jamming up our process to get our titles. And he just said, get out of my office. And at that moment, when he said that, I said, I'm going to unseat this guy, because there was a lot of things that I knew with what was going on with our ballots at the same time. And there was an individual, and then a lot of people don't understand, is there's an individual. So the ballots let's just say there's a 30-day cycle on ballots, mm-hmm. or say it's 20 or 30-day cycle. What I dug into and I found out, I used to be sitting there, and there was a guy come in with a dolly with boxes of ballots and mail from the recording department, all these 3 departments that Gilbert Ortiz ran. And one day I'm sitting there, walked in with all these ballots, and I was like, boxes of ballots, like totes of ballots, and I didn't see anybody else with this guy. And I looked, I said, there are ballots in there? And he goes, yeah. And right away my mind was like, there's not somebody else. They're coming to Gilbert's office. We have an election office 2 blocks away. Why are these ballots coming to Gilbert Ortiz's office? And he's picking up the mail at the post office. I'm like,
the stuff in the ballot.
So I would just, right there, my mind was like, fuck that. This can't happen. Like, my grandpa went to war for our freedoms, and our ballots are our freedom. Mm-hmm. So I knew right then and there, I'm like, I'm going to run down this rabbit hole, and if I could get this done, then we're going to start getting some good politicians that can run and actually that could win.
So you think that those ballots were forged, or that they were...
So everything I dug into, this is how I think it happened.
Okay.
So I went and spoke at the Republican Party, and I told the Republicans what was going on. And I said, here's what's going on. And a couple people that were election watchers said, oh, Luke, that doesn't happen. I'm an election judge. I went there. And I said, did you go to the post office the day the ballots got sent out? Did you go pick them up that day? They sat there and they're like, no, I think it was about 2 weeks after, maybe about 10 days or 2 weeks after, that then the ballots got sent out. Then he enacted the judge. I said, that's where it's happening. That's where the cheating's happening. So everything that I dug into and I started figuring things out, and I sat down at the election and I watched the guy get the mail. I videotaped the guy getting the mail. He would go get the mail at Midtown. The ballots would be there, the license plate mail and the recording mail. No election judges. So then I was like, wow. So here's I concluded with what's going on with our elections. I don't know if it still is, but it was going on. They don't purge the voter rolls. As you all know, I mean, there's a lot of people, but I'm going to mention Heather Graham's name because Heather Graham was on here, or she was on city council, and I think she's on city council, and she said her in-laws have been deceased for 12 years, and they still get a ballot. And she was on city council when she was a city council lady, and she would say that, like, we still get a ballot. Luke's saying the truth. Like, there's a huge discrepancy with these elections. There's totally something not right.
Yeah. Wow.
So what's going on is they don't purge the voter rolls. And when they don't purge the voter rolls, they got all these, like, good people. Like, if you had a ballot sent here to your house, and it was from the previous owner you bought this house from, and his, like, husband and wife and daughter, you're going to get these three ballots.
That actually happens. I do get tons of ballots here from the previous
Yeah, and you're going to get these ballots, and you're going to say, oh, well, these are the previous owner bought it from. They must move. They don't have the address right. A good person is going to put them back in the mail. And then what happens is then it goes back down to Midtown. So now they have all these blank ballots. And then they go and they pick up the mail without any election judges for the first 7 to 10 days in an election cycle. And those ballots got picked up. And I never released this story that I had. I had one gangbuster story. I never released it. I thought if Gilbert Ortiz was going to win that election, I was going to release it in November to wake people up. And I never released it because we got them out. Mm-hmm. So the ballots get sent out. You take everybody in town, thousands of ballots, and they go, oh, this is my mom or dad that died. They're not going to commit forgery. They're not going to, they're not going to get caught. They're not going to vote for them. So good people will put it back in the mail. It'll get sent down to Midtown. This is why they don't purge the voter rolls. And then that guy will go down to Midtown and grab all the department's mail, the motor vehicle mail, the recording mail, and the election mail. Mm-hmm. And he'll bring it to the courthouse. Rather than bringing the mail to the election office and keeping the ballots separate. They don't enact the judges the day the ballots got sent out. Back in the day, they didn't allow it. They weren't doing it. Mm-hmm. I talked to the guy that picked up the ballots by himself, and I said, what's going on? Are you getting those ballots by yourself? He goes, yeah, for the first 7 days, maybe 10, but for the first 7, the first week, he'd pick them up by himself. No election judge. So now they have 5,000 ballots that are blank. They got 5,000 ballots sitting there, and now they say, all right, election judges, you guys go. Now, what happens with those blank ballots? Why were those blank ballots sitting there and going to Gilbert Ortiz's office? Why were they going to his office rather than the election building? So
okay. Let me rebuttal on his behalf, because a lot of people are gonna sit here and be like, oh, he just sat here and just listened to them. Just they're gonna say lie or whatever for 2 hours. All right, so let me rebuttal back. What if? How do you know those ballots are blank? How do you know?
The guy that picked them up told me. They're non-deliverable ballots. They're people will write on the ballot, deceased, previous owner. So he said he would see them, that they would write on there like deceased, or my mom died 10 years ago. So he would see it. They write right on that. So why do they not purge the voter rolls? Why would they literally, if you're the election clerk and you're the county clerk, why would you want to deal with all that bullshit mail if there wasn't something there?
You're right. No, you're
Why
right.
would you want to go through all of that, thousands of dollars sending out ballots? Why would you want to go through all of that mail that's coming back to you? What's the purpose of it?
Well, I think to your point back with the dealerships, it's the inefficiency of government. It's not only local; it goes up to the top. It's inefficient and it doesn't work as it should. So yeah, you're probably right, but they probably don't have the person or the time to do that, or they think they don't.
Oh, it's literally so easy. They don't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
They don't want to do it. They can, if they get that little code on your license plate that just has that little digit, they know what plate that links back to. If they got all that figured out, they could figure out how to click a button and say,
I mean, you're right.
Here's the death certificate.
It's an Excel spreadsheet.
Boom, take them off the voter rolls. It's literally easy, but it's not being done. It's a sophisticated plan for this to happen. It was planned. It wasn't a mistake. It's actually planned. So if you're going to win an election in Pueblo, you've got to win by thousands of votes, because those thousands of votes sitting in those boxes, in my opinion, those thousands of votes and those blank ballots are being voted on.
Oh, shit.
And they're being voted on who wants somebody to win. So if there's 3,000 ballots or 5,000 ballots against you, and most races are within 2,000 votes, and if there's that many sitting in the blank ones, you've got to win by over 5,000 votes to overseed what's sitting in those boxes. So I went down that rabbit hole, and I spent 2 years of my life. And while I was doing this to better the community and fighting for anybody to run for office, somebody knew. They enacted sheriff deputies to surround me at the courthouse. So I spent 2 years of my life getting stories, interviewing people, sitting down in the evening, putting out stuff on social media. I got a Facebook just for this. To do that. Mm-hmm. I never had a Facebook till I got into trying to fight for the community. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they would have these deputies surround me. And I said, what's the deputies for? Well, the reason why they had me escorted at the county clerk's office is when I would talk to all the girls, they were the ones giving me the stories. Hey, talk to this person. They know this. They would slide me notes. They would slide me their phone number. They would give me all the information. I'll talk to you later.
Girls as in like...
the clerks, the workers.
Okay, yeah.
They were the election clerks. They were the license plate clerks. And they said, contact this person. I know this. She'll talk on camera. So what they did to me is they had me escorted by 2 and sometimes 3 deputies. Every time I walked in the courthouse, the county commissioners approved it. And they had me escorted. I would literally walk in and boom, escorts.
So you couldn't even do any business.
Like I couldn't. The public looked at me like, "Whoa, this guy's being escorted."
Yeah, I'm going to intervene. There was county commissioners that would beg Luke to stop telling the story, stop going after Gilbert, stop talking about it, and it's just like.
Did they offer you any money?
Why?
No, but and if I need to, I'll release it. But there was 2 county commissioners. They would call me, and I knew they acted like they're in my corner. They weren't, and I'm not an idiot. I might play off, shoot the shit with somebody on the phone, but I know who's playing me. I mean, I know who's in it, who's in your corner, and who's not. I mean, I'm about 90% sure. And I would get these phone calls from these 2 county commissioners, and they'd say, "Hey, quit talking about the ballots. I watched your video you put out. You're not going to win. You're not going to get them out if you're talking about the ballots coming to the courthouse. Don't talk about it." And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like,
that's crazy.
These guys they know what's going on. Why is you stand in office and you take an oath and the judge swears you in and you take an oath to do what's right, and you're making $150,000 a year, or whatever county commissioners make, $125,000, and you're literally telling the people like, I got your back, man. I'm going to put my hand up here and I'm going to swear on a Bible that I've got the community's back. And they literally would call me in the evening and they'd say, don't talk about the ballots going to the courthouse. You're losing people. You're losing your base. They're not listening to you now. Don't do that. And I've got it all recorded because I knew when I was in that REM. I mean, I just don't go record all my conversations, but man, when I was dealing with escorted, making me out to be a bad guy because I just wanted truth. I knew they were coming for me, and I would have 3 deputies, and I got along with them all. I shot the shit with them. I didn't have any beef with them, and it didn't seem like they had any problems with me. But I knew, I'm like, they're trying to silence me. And the reason why they did that is because when I would talk to these girls, we would have an hour conversation while they do my title work. And they wanted that to stop because they knew that's where I was getting my stories. They had cameras. They probably seen the exchange of the phone numbers or me programming their number in my phone. So they thought if we escort him, the girls aren't going to speak in front of a deputy with a body camera on, or whether they had a camera on or not. I think sometimes they're not going to talk.
Wow.
So then the girls are like, when I got escorted, the girls were like, man, they shut down. It hurt a little bit. At first, I was like, man, I'm going to lose. I'm not going to accomplish this because now they're scaring everybody.
Yeah, your community reputation, or so it seems.
Yeah, so then I would file titles. The line would be 20, 30, 40, 50 deep. And people are looking at me like, who is this dude? He's getting escorted by 3 deputies. And it was embarrassing. I was like, dude, I'm not a bad guy. I'm fighting for Democrats and Republicans, and they're literally putting this tunnel vision that I'm this fucked up person that I have to be escorted. And I'm sitting there going, you guys are some dirty, rotten son of a bitches that you knew these ballots were going to the courthouse, and they didn't even say, wait a second, this guy's posting something on social media, ballots going to the courthouse, we're looking into it, we're having a county meeting, we're going to do something about it. They didn't, because they knew about it. They wanted to be like, oh shit, he's revealing the truth. Let's get him to shut up. They didn't want me to shed light on it. And at that moment, I knew that I wasn't stopping. I knew that I was right in the thick of it, and I knew that, like, I've got to keep pushing forward. I have to keep getting this out. And so I just kept pushing at it. And we got Gilbert Ortiz out of office, and that was a huge win. And it was a huge accomplishment, and I had no financial gain in it. I literally bought tons of signs for Candace Rivera to beat Gilbert.
I remember seeing those signs.
I painted a box truck. I spent thousands of dollars on Facebook advertising to get Gilbert out. And over the last 3.5 years that Candace won, she never said, hey, come to my office, here's a donut, here's a cup of coffee, here's a glass of water. I really appreciate this $140,000 a year job, or whatever it is, $125,000 a year job. I really appreciate you. I haven't got that in 3.5 years. I haven't got that. Brian Mader. I'm
going to Google her because I'm not familiar with what she looks like.
Brian Mader ruined that. He lives in Florida. He gets involved with politics, and he gets these politicians, and he gets their ear. He calls them at night, and he calls them, and he wants to be in the know, and he wants to be involved. And Brian Mader wanted to be Candace Rivera's deputy chief. So there were a lot of stories that the News Channel 13 were going to take that I had. And Brian Mader would call Sean Rice and be like, no, don't air that story that Luke's got. Don't do that because I'm trying to be Candace's deputy chief. So I had all these great stories, and Brian Mader squashed it with Sean because he says, I got all these stories, Sean. Don't release that. Please don't release that because I'm going to give you stories in the future. So Sean Rice didn't release some of these stories because Brian Mader promised him that he was in his corner to give him better stories. And so Brian ruined it for Candace and I. He got involved and turned Candace against me. And then I started getting these texts from Candace, fuck you, and our clerk and recorder just started talking shit about me. And I just literally spent almost $10,000 getting her elected. And I was sitting there and I was reading these text messages, and I was just like,
well, what is her impression? Well,
I got phone calls from her cussing me out.
Well, wait. What is the impression that she what is the thing in her mind that you did wrong to her? You believe? What does she think?
So what we were going to do a story on all politicians. Every single politician. Sean Rice was going to do a story. So the day I made a citizen arrest and I handcuffed the guy to my truck that was running out of Home Depot, I was on my way to meet.
Saw that, I think, on Facebook.
I was on my way to meet Sean Rice. We were going to eat dinner at Cactus Flower. I left the warehouse. I was on my way. Guys were running out of Home Depot. People were chasing them. What better guy? I just like, I'll catch him. Like, you're not going to run out of our local stores and just take goods. I'm like, I'm going to get him. So I got him, and two guys took off one way, and I just picked one guy, and I got him, and I cuffed him to my truck, and Sean called, and he's like, where you at, dude? I've been waiting. I said, shit, I was on my way. This guy's run out of the store. I cuffed him to my truck, and that's when Sean said, I got to video this. He went over there because we were going to dinner, and he videotaped it. That's why it was on camera.
Yeah.
But
insane. I just want to say you're insane for that. Like, that's a lot of people will just see someone stealing and just look the other way. You know,
my dad, the credit goes out to my dad and my second dad that lives across the street from me. He's like a dad to me, and they're both really great men. And the guy that lives across the street, my dad, he's known me since I was a kid, and he's an honorary guy like that. And my dad taught me when I was a kid. Like, he didn't really teach me, but I watched him do it. We'd be driving in his Nissan pickup, and we'd be going to the King Soopers. And back in the day when I was like 12 years old, people were running. This guy's running out of the store with cartons of cigarettes. And they were running out with cartons of cigarettes, and my dad looked over at me, and he goes, you want to get him? And I said, yeah, let's get him. So we went through the Jiffy Lube parking lot, 10 Gen. He pulled the emergency brake. I took off running right in front of 10 Gen, the Chinese place on Northern.
Yeah.
And I'm behind the guy. I'm ahead of my dad. I'm like 12 years old. This guy's, pretty good-sized dude, and I'm running, and I'm like, I'm going to trip him, and all of a sudden my dad grabs me on the shoulder, and he goes, I got him, and he pulls me back while we're both running, and he just pounds the guy right to the gravel, and he gets him, and he holds him down. And at that point, I was like, my dad is the toughest son of a bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Right away, I thought, like, this dude is like a badass.
A superhero,
you know what I mean? Like, who does that? And I took that, and I was like, and it just instilled in me. Like, I don't go to the store. If I go to the store and someone's going to steal and run out, I engage. It doesn't matter who it is. You know what I mean? The only way maybe that I probably wouldn't do it is if some lady and her kid were there and they were getting, like, food, and it was legitimately they were struggling, then I'm not going to go hands-on. But if you're going to, like, just steal just anything and everything and run out with bags of stuff, I'm going to stop you.
For sure.
And it instilled in me when I was a little kid. And my dad just said, you know what, stand up for yourself. And if someone's going to pick a fight with you, he says, don't back down. And just, defend yourself. And maybe sometimes I might take it a little too far, but I can only put up with so much shit. I can put up with it, and then eventually I engage. And I bark back or I do something. So that's kind of how I got going in that, but we just happen to be in public. Joey and I will be having a cup of coffee, and people will run out of the store shit, and we chase them down because it's principle. It's our town. We give a shit about this community, and it's just the principle. As if everybody just turns their head and says, "Well,
someone else will do it."
Somebody else will do it. Like. I'm ornery enough to do it. Like, that's what men are supposed to do. We're supposed to get ornery. We're supposed to fight. And we're supposed to protect our children, the women. We're supposed to do this. But it's not normal anymore. When you stand up to these people and you tackle them and you take people down, people look at you like you're a punk or something's wrong with you.
It's when principle overrides logic. I think we've talked about that like a ton of times. It's just... you just do what's right. It's just a matter of principle at that point. You just go with it, right?
It would be in any parking lot. I don't care. I don't care who it was.
For any situation.
Even if it was Gilbert Ortiz that I unseated him, if he needed help to this day and he was in a parking lot and some dudes were jumping him, I would engage. I just do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you did, for Joey. Even back then, it's just human nature human nature for you, not for a lot of people, to help someone in need, or help the society.
You have to,
in
because. When I see that, I don't ever want to be that person
Yeah, not
or
get
my
help.
family member in that person in a parking lot, and somebody just goes, "Oh, life's
Like
too
the-
easy," or they just
Yeah, just
videotape
oh man, that's
one
awful.
of your
That's a
family
society.
members getting assaulted. Like, I would want somebody to do what I do for people, and that's why I engage. I have to do what's right.
You know, that's respectable. I wish there was more people like you guys within just even Pueblo. But I want to get back on track about this whole thing. So that's where it all started, was with Gilbert. You said that's where you got I guess you were invigorated to start helping the community, right there.
Yeah, it was just they were jacking with me with doing ballots and having me escorted, and then me knowing about the ballots coming in by one person.
Which is so insane. That's a whole show in itself, man. The whole ballot thing. Do you think, just in your opinion, do you think the latest mayor election because that was a heavy election, there was a lot of things on that ballot. Do you think that was tampered with?
I don't think so, because I think Heather was fighting the same fight that she just wanted. She wanted transparency. Mm-hmm. She wanted honest elections, and I don't see Heather. I don't see Heather being, she's self-employed. Mm-hmm. She's made it. She's not one of them people that just has to have a job. She can go make a living herself. Mm-hmm. I don't think Heather's one that, like, there's certain people in government, not all, but there's certain people that to go to the private sector would be very hard for them to do. Mm-hmm. It'd be really hard for them to do. And I don't mean that with our officers, because I 100% support our police and our sheriff. Not our Sheriff Dave Lucero, but our sheriff deputies. But there are certain people in government that they don't, it would be hard for them to go to the private sector, because, working with the government, it's a little relaxed and they got good benefits and it's easy. But I really do believe Heather, she can go hustle her business or her Graham's Grill or something. So I don't think that she would fudge with the elections back then. I just don't see it.
I agree. I'm just asking the questions, but I totally agree. She beat my ass fair and square. She did her thing, and I'm happy to see her.
Because
I think she's doing a decent job.
Truly, who ran that election was Nick Gradishar. So truly, Nick is the one that put on the ballots going to. I think I could be wrong, but if I recall, I think the ballots went to the mayor's office, and they had their own election. I think that's what happened. I'd have to look back.
Yeah, man. Shout out Heather. I'd love to have her back on. So going back on things, where does your, after Gilbert is unseated, where does your time go? What makes you want to continue? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
One
kid. So what makes you want to fight for the community when you have something to fight for at home?
Life really changes when you have kids. Like, it's totally different. I look through life in a total different eyes now. I mean, back then you never knew what it was like to be a parent until you're a parent. Once you become a parent, it's the best gift you could possibly ever have. Like, my biggest regret in life is not doing it sooner.
Oh.
Like, I'm glad I did it later in life because you have more time and money. But I really regret not doing it when I was like 25. Damn. I'm 43. I should have done it when I was 25 and I would have had a big family, because I love kids. They're like the coolest thing. Like, it's I ranch and I see new baby goats. And I just get a kick out of those new baby goats.
Yeah.
And I've done that for over a decade now. And I'm like, dude, that is like so cool. And then when you have your own, you're like, wow, it magnifies it by 100.
Better than a goat.
And yeah, it's cool. So, like, and then I just, the biggest thing is we see our community decline, and then you engage. You just engage, and you want the best for the community. And Joey ran for sheriff. And he's running for sheriff. And I knew Dave. I wasn't friends. I wasn't buddies with Dave. Like, we knew each other. We never had lunch together. We never went to social events together. We just knew each other. And Joey ran for sheriff, and And
Tell me about that. So, what year did you run for sheriff? Just to remind the people.
It was the 2022 election.
And how do you think that impacted your, I guess, reputation in Pueblo?
You know, I haven't gotten any hate for that. I definitely faced hate from like the chieftain, from the administration.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was people that would disagree with me on social media, but yeah, it's just I never really received any like real actual hate. I've received more hate now going after the sheriff with Luke this go around than I ever have ever. Like, it's the wildest thing, and it just makes you wonder what's going on.
You think it's fabricated hate, or it's actual genuine Pueblo citizens who just hate you?
a lot of it's fake accounts.
Yeah,
Fabricated, okay.
it's a lot of it is fake accounts. I mean,
Every day I'll get a fake account, will say something, and I look at it. They got no friends, and the account just got created, and
What will they say about you?
they'll just talk anything and everything. They'll literally say anything and everything, and we know where it's coming back from. We know it's coming. It's got to be coming, in my opinion. It's got to be coming from the sheriff, somebody at the sheriff's office. It's got to be coming. Now, I don't know exactly who, but maybe later we'll get a court record and we'll get a judge to, preserve those records.
It's never happened. It's never happened. Him and I never had problems before on social media with people, like never. And then all of a sudden, you're going against this guy, and then
It all comes
boom,
up.
it's just like a bomb gets dropped.
You think, man, all right. This is a hypothetical, just a scenario or a question. Is he savvy enough to create tons of Facebook accounts to go after you guys, or is he employing someone?
Well, law enforcement in general, they're pretty good at doing that because they're
okay.
watching.
That's
they're
true.
watching people, and they're pretty savvy at creating fake accounts and adding friends and doing all this and posting and making it look like it's a legit account.
Wow.
Before,
I mean, that's true, yeah.
you know what I mean, before doing it. So they know what they're doing, and
Over the last 6 months that we've been putting stuff out on the sheriff, like I went down this rabbit hole I've been working on this for a year now, and we've had tons of coffee meetings, like tons. I can't even explain. Like, I literally gained like 20 pounds from drinking fucking coffee. You know what I mean? Like, all those lattes and stuff. I finally had to cut back. I've been latte free for 2 weeks, and I'm starting to lose that. I mean, I was having coffee meetings every day. People were reaching out saying, I know this, I know that, and we would just say, let's meet for coffee. And so we would meet these people for coffee, and we got a lot of good stuff. And that's stuff we can't put out right here.
Wow. Why?
We've got a lot. Well, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be. It's that good.
Some of it even would jeopardize our lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And when we heard this information from individuals, we're like, what's going on? Do you have facts on this? And we would hear the stories, and, you can only believe so much. And then all of a sudden, when you start getting video and you start getting audio,
Well, there was... Oh, sorry.
when you start getting video and you start getting audio, and you're like, wow, you do have info. And then it opened your eyes to, like, it all roils back to Dave Lucero. Why didn't you take that hair follicle drug test? It all boils back to that, the information we got. And so then you start thinking, you see your community decline, and you go, we got good information from a previous deputy, and they're like, call him out for a drug test because he ain't going to take it. And when you get all this information from multiple people, you're like, oh, man, what the heck do people know? So then I'm ballsy enough to say, Sheriff, let's have full transparency for our community. Do you do drugs? Do a hair follicle drug test. Let me tell you something right now. If I was the sheriff, let me rewind. I offered $500 for the sheriff to do a hair follicle drug test, which I would pay for. I offered $500 to St. Baldrick Foundation to a good cause. What sheriff in history or anywhere across the whole United States would deny that, would not reach out? If I was sheriff,
Well,
wait a second.
Okay,
If
okay.
I was sheriff and you called me out and everybody said $500, I'd say, bring your money. I'll be there tomorrow morning. If it was in the evening, they called me out.
Especially if it's for kids.
And I would show up in a minute.
well, okay, Luke. Let me play the opposite side because I don't want everyone to just say that. Well, I'm going with you guys the whole time. Okay, the sheriff is a busy guy. He can't necessarily just go do a hair follicle test because I like you. You're a good guy, but he's probably calling you a troll. Like to his close friends, he's like, "Oh man, this guy's trolling me online. This guy keeps poking at me," and he's like, "Why would I play into his game?" That's probably what he's thinking.
Well, that's his best defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's his very best defense, to shed light on somebody else than shed light
But
on
he has
himself.
time. He literally
Has
goes
time.
during the week and golfs and he has time. He can
believe
make
it.
time. It's a hair follicle test. They have at-home kits that you can take.
I believe
And
it.
we don't
Send
want
it.
an at-home kit.
No,
We literally wanted it from
take-
Centura Health
It'd take about an
or
hour, half hour at the most. Honestly,
There's a place on, there's multiple places that do it.
you make time for things that you
and
wanna
I would
do.
have,
You're right.
put it this way. When you're the head law enforcement official, if you right now, I was sheriff, and you said, hey, our town's looking like shit, we want a drug test, and you offered $500 to do it, I'd say, let's do it. I'm going to clear my name within 24 hours. You're not just going to keep putting this stuff out on me and say, hey, drug test. We need drug test, sheriff, drug test. And he's literally sitting at home going, well, those statute of limitations on that hair follicle test ain't up yet, in my opinion. So why wouldn't you if you're the sheriff? You're the man of the law. You're a man of principle. We see our community completely declining. Let me go back for a second. When you're a doctor and you're a surgeon and you're a back surgeon, you do how many back surgeries a year? Out of 365 days a year, you do what? Probably 100 back surgeries a year out of 365 days. You're a sheriff, and how many drug busts does our sheriff do in a year? Ask yourself that. Fentanyl is destroying our community. Fentanyl is destroying this community. The drugs, the homelessness, the crime. He has no idea how to get the homeless out. And ask him. Put him in a corner. How many big drug busts have you done in Pueblo in the last 3 years? I'm talking big ones. I'm not talking about stop a homeless guy, but big drug busts. And I guarantee you, he's going to pucker his ass up and he's going to say,
so many
well,
ounces of blow, or you know what I mean, big pounds, kilos,
how many pound?
I-25. Anybody in law enforcement knows that the drugs run north, money runs south on I-25. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing to prevent that? There's so much fentanyl pouring into this city and this county, and it's killing people all the time.
How could he even run for re-election when you look at our community, the shambles it's in? How could you even put your ass on the ballot to say, I want to be re-elected? Look around. Drive up Northern. 30 or 40 buildings. Go down Evans. Go down by the mill stop. Right next door to the mill stop. Windows busted. Go down 2 blocks. 3 or 4 buildings. Everywhere. 4th Street. Everywhere. We've seen it. Pueblo Bank and Trust. Boom. Their windows were taken out last year by homeless. How could a sheriff truly run for re-election when he's not even from Pueblo? He's not even from Colorado. And you look at our community and he's on the ballot. And then you sit here and you go, with the information that we know, that's why we called him out for a drug test.
And okay. And I want to, I'm just someone listening to the stories, and I'm just a regular independent thinker. It seems as if what's being insinuated is he obviously is doing drugs, but is he doing is he bringing the drugs? Is he introducing the drugs? Is he letting the drug dealers go? Is he?
That's why we wanted him to show up.
Does he have connections?
I had some really rough, tough questions for him, and I had some stuff on my phone I wanted to show him. And I wanted to get him here, so face to face. I don't want to reveal what I have, but I wanted him to sit here so I could play it on the phone and say, answer this question.
What drug? I mean, cocaine, obviously, right?
Well, let's try to get him to come to another debate.
Weed doesn't matter.
I'm not talking about marijuana, but let's get him to come to another debate. Let's get him to sit right here, and let's get him to come to another debate, and I'll play it on my phone. But I'm not gonna play what I have unless he's sitting here. I want to watch his reaction.
That's fair.
If I play it now and then he comes in a week later, he's gonna have he's going to have an answer for what I have to show him. So that's why we invite him. We want him to show up. But you literally look around the community and you go, I would be embarrassed if I was the sheriff. The sheriff is literally making all politicians in this community look bad. We've got some good politicians in office. And I'm not saying all of them are good, but we've got some good people.
Sure.
And by him destroying our community, it's a ripple effect. It's making all of them look bad. So if we get a new sheriff that'll actually take these people to jail, when I've had this happen to me, let me tell you, I have showed up to one of my properties, catch people breaking in. They're inside my building. I'll put the picture out. They're inside the building. I repo cars. I threw on my bulletproof vest. I had some handcuffs. I went down there and I took care of it myself. I put some of them in cuffs and I waited for the cops to get there. They're in handcuffs. Cops show up.
They're out of handcuffs.
Can't do nothing.
Oh,
They can't do anything. They literally said, all we can do is give this guy a citation. They broke my window. They jimmied the door, got in. They destroyed the inside, and they can't do anything to these people.
I mean, legally, you could have killed him, right?
And, well, I don't want to go that far.
Well,
Because my freedom is worth too much. But it's principle. And these deputies these officers show up, the city officers show up, and they're like, the sheriff won't allow this unless it's a felony. Was there $2,000 worth of damage? Well, and you got a 3x4 window that's busted. That's only what, $300, $400, $500, $600, and you got maybe $1,000 inside that was destroyed. You can't take them to jail. So then I go down the rabbit hole and I start asking, is that the sheriff's policies or is that state law? And they say it's the sheriff's policies. Legally, the sheriff, if somebody is lashing out in our community, if they're like what happened at the deli down on Main, when somebody's lashing out, the sheriff can allow that guy to be put on a 4-hour hold, a mental hold, anything, because he's a risk for the public. So our officers should have showed up, which they did. They showed up. They should have showed up, put him right in handcuffs, and took him to jail. But they knew the sheriff wouldn't allow him to take. So they had to go back, figure out if there was a felony charge for assault or whatever, and they had to go back later and arrest him, and then the sheriff decided to take him. So when people say that our sheriff has nothing to do with the city, what people need to know this one thing. We have one jail. Yeah, they got a new one built, but ultimately we have one jail where we put prisoners in. And that one jail is ran by the county sheriff. So when people say, well, I live out in the county and I live in Pueblo West and I live in Rye and it's nice here, there's no problems. He's literally destroying our community, and our city police officers are at the point of just giving up. Because when our police officers, and God bless those people, they put their life on the line for our community and our safety. But imagine being an officer that you show up and you catch these homeless breaking into a building and you got to issue them a ticket to go to court. And you say, see you later. They're going to do it that night. They're going to do it. And if under Alan Medina's run for sheriff, and he publicly announced that he will allow our officers, if you break into our buildings and you victimize the public, you're going to jail. So at least Alan Medina is willing to let these officers take them to jail. And it's common sense.
Common sense.
And so when people say, oh, the sheriff has nothing to do with the city, if he don't allow the police officers to take people to jail, our community dies. And then everybody blames the police chief, they blame the mayor, they blame everything. And I'm not saying that there's no fault. There could be some changes with, I don't like the new homeless shelter of expanding it. We already have a homeless problem. Now we've expanded it. Now we've advertised all over Facebook how up to date it is and how beautiful it is and how the state of the art facility. Other communities are going, oh, you're bragging about your homeless facility. We're going to send our homeless people there. You don't do that.
Yeah, makes sense.
You help the homeless and you shut up and you don't put it on social media, because you just put it out there for every county to say, hey guys, send them to Pueblo. They're pretty proud of their homeless facility. You don't do that. And there's some good things, and I'm not here to knock Heather. That's not what I'm here on for. Is there's some good things that she's done, and there's some things I don't agree with. But the same thing is if the shoe was on the other foot, she would probably feel the same thing. So I'm not here to run Heather down, but I just want to hear, people, that's the biggest thing that I hear. The sheriff has nothing to do with the city. Yes, if you don't let our officers use the tools that they have, taking these people to jail that are breaking in, victimize our business, you're never going to clean the community
and
up.
just to give you perspective from the sheriff's office too, so I worked there in the processing and receiving right there in the basement of the judicial building where all the new arrests come in. So when they don't have a felony, they get an approval through a captain or above. So the sheriff actually gives those people the authority to make the decision if we're going to accept these people or not.
Wow.
So it's there. So it is there.
So it's like, was your crime bad enough? Not today.
I mean, they would reject. It would be crazy sometimes what they'd reject. Even though it'd be a misdemeanor, there'd be a child abuse, and they'd reject them. Sometimes they'd take them, and it's just with
this information that you guys are presenting here. Obviously not the child abuse stuff, but with like the theft and the breaking in and whatnot. Me, I'm a good person. There's good people that listen. There's not good people that listen to this. And a lot of them, they're probably like, oh wow, I could do all this nonsense, breaking into shit, and I'm not gonna get in trouble. I didn't know that, and now I know that. So it's like, that's such a asinine way. If that really is, I got to do more research on this. If the sheriff is really doing that and telling the officers under him not to prosecute these criminals, man, that's horrible.
Joey, you touched base on the phone call you had with an undercover officer. Touch base on that. Don't give names, but touch base on the phone call of the wiretap they had in this.
On which one, Luke?
The one you just talked about where they said stand down.
Oh, yeah. So they they'll just, I don't know, Luke, what are you talking about? Which one?
The one where they said, "Don't write that up. It's not. It's not."
Oh, that was the.
Don't mention names.
Yeah, gotcha. So there was this guy. He,
the one that
Andrew
just got
Ward.
charged.
Andrew Ward, is who his name was. He was the one with all the kiddie stuff.
Yeah.
So that I was trying to think of his name.
The one that just got charged like last week.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was talking about a different one.
Oh.
Where they had the guy on a wiretap, and then they said, "Hey, we've got this on wiretap." You shared the story from the undercover, and then they said, "Hey, we have this information. This guy's on wiretap," and the sheriff said, "Don't do anything about that. That ain't gonna go nowhere."
No, yeah, there's that, and I'll let you tell that. But the what I was thinking about was the Andrew Ward guy. So he he worked in the judicial building in the basement there with me and a few other deputies, and he ended up leaving one of his jump drives. Well, at the time I didn't know it was his jump drive, and so trying to figure out whose it is, I plug it into the computer, and then there's all these weird pictures of this child
pornography.
And it wasn't child pornography, but it was enough to raise a flag, right? I mean, it was just like, whoa, what's going on here? This kid's sleeping, and there's all kinds of, even though he's clothed, there's all kinds of close-up pictures of his behind, and there's all kinds of, like, around, like, you know what I mean? Like, 360 pictures of this kid that's sleeping. And we gave it to the captain over there at the judicial building, and they pretty much told us to, like, stand down. They were going to investigate it. They were going to do their thing. They didn't ask us to write reports. They didn't.
They Google this for people.
And so, yeah, I mean, it ended up coming out just a few months ago. The guy's getting arrested for child, and yeah, he's got. I heard from some undercovers that he had like almost 1 million videos and pictures and stuff like that. I mean, it's just
that's fucking. I mean, and he was working.
But we gave him the key. We gave them the key because there was locked images on that deal, and if you're just trying to figure out whose jump drive that is, then it probably could have been articulated correctly.
Wait.
Where they could have figured out.
You can lock images on a jump drive?
That's it. On this one that he had, there was locked images on it.
Oh man, that's nefarious. That is like that in itself is a red flag. That in itself is a red flag. Yeah. So now, for the people that don't know, I'm going to read the headline. This is from KKTV. A former Pueblo County deputy has been arrested for charges related to sexual crimes involving children. A former Pueblo County deputy. This is another thing. Do you think he downloaded these images? Is there like a database of people that have already got caught in Pueblo? Like, how do they know? How does he have all these? How does he have 1 million photos?
I heard that what he was doing was, I don't know how you acquire them, but I heard that he was obtaining them, selling them. I heard that he was taking pictures of
all under the noses of all the other deputies.
Victims here in Pueblo. And I don't know what's true or not. I haven't read into it. It disgusts me that the guy even was out on the streets and worked for the sheriff's office for that long. So I truly haven't paid attention to it. But from what I've gathered from other people that are on the other side, they told me he had all kinds of stuff. He was dealing them.
Oh my God!
Some dark network.
I want to touch base on something before I lose this topic, before people lose interest on something. But Joey and I, for the last 6 months, we've watched social media, and we've watched who commented, who reacts to the sheriff stuff, and the sheriff's campaign, and who reacts to it. And all I could say is we have a bunch of spineless men in this community. Nobody will rise up when the time needed. Maybe there's some. But as you clearly see, when you go to Luke Wodiuk on my Facebook, the very first video pops up was what the sheriff did to try to get a deacon fired. You'll hear it from the bishop's mouth. 3 minutes long. Go check it out.
Should we watch
the second video, you'll see him toot his horn about what he's going to do to Joey Musso and fire him. He's got job protection. He even goes to say he has the sheriff, Dave Lucero, goes in to say he has the power to banish somebody from his county. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Attorneys, and what I heard is judges even heard that, and they laughed. That he's like, I could banish people from my county. Like, the guy is on a totally different level of power. And the information that we have, we know why. He's got to have that seat. He's got to protect. There's a lot of people that he's got to protect. And that's why you see Pueblo crumbling. Mm-hmm. That's why you see Dave Lucero not take a drug test. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for all this. He's the chosen boy that needs to be in that position, and people can't see it. Dave is the guy for protection for some.
I see it.
And he has to be in that seat, the information that we have. And you see, Pueblo wouldn't need a union at the sheriff's department. The reason why, Dave Lucero went after Joey, he fired him, he did all that stuff to Joey, he's got job protection. He would tell me that, he's got job protection. And when Dave Lucero would tell me, yeah, he'd call, Joey's got job protection if he drops out of the race in that 2022 election. Mm-hmm. If he drops out, he's got job protection.
I heard that.
I mean, I would hear that multiple times, and I never recorded it. I was like, wow, this dude is like on another level. Like he's wanting power so bad. He's trying to get me to go back to Joey and say, hey, you better just drop out. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I just got Gilbert Ortiz out of office. Like, I just want a peaceful life. And a lot of people think they're like, oh, no, you love the drama. You just want to go after politicians. Like, trust me, I don't want to. I'll rise up if I have to. I'll rise up and I'll fight for the community. But my life is way better just staying silent. Going to work, making a living, going to the ranch. It's easier. I don't like this. I don't make any money doing this. Oh, you like it. I hate it. I actually can't wait for this election to be over and Alan Medina wins this election. But I'll rise up in any situation. And I was so tired of politics that I regret it to this day not releasing the audio. So he would call again and he would tell me these fucked up things he's going to do to Joey. So I would talk to some people and they're like, dude, you better record that. Our sheriff is not a good dude. If he's doing that, he's got something told his just his ethics is not there for the community. It's not about community, it's about power. Mm-hmm. It's not about Pueblo, it's about power. Who's he protecting? What's he doing in that job? What's going on? There's something there that he has to be there. Because think about it. Two dudes run off, they get in a fight, they touch gloves. After the boxing match, they give each other a hug. Not in this race. He went after Joey. He followed through with what he said. He's going to fire him. He did exactly what he said. He goes after every single buddy that speaks out against him. That's not what we need as a sheriff. When you're a public servant, you take criticism. You take it without backlash, and that's not what happens. I've experienced firsthand. They pull up. They're going to tow my box truck, not even impeding the traffic. I videotaped it last summer. Cars all up and down the street. I videotaped the line of sight, not impeding the traffic. Going to tow my box truck. Then when I get on Facebook and say, vote out Dave Lucero, 3 hours later, his office orders the State Department and sends the State Department an email that we need video footage of this dude's property. Can you video foot it? Why wouldn't he do it in-house? He didn't do it in-house because his undercover and his people would leak. They're going to Luke's to fly a drone over. It would have got out to me.
It's like
So he had the state parks do it. So then the state parks, they fly this drone over, and I'm on the phone with Joey. And the very next day, I'm sitting on my deck. After I said vote out Dave Lucero, I'm sitting on my deck the day before I get on social media to vote out Dave, and this drone is hovering above me. And I was like, whoa, Joey, I got to get the fuck off the phone. I got to go. I run out the front door. I'm like, I'm going to follow this. I knew it was retaliation from the sheriff's department. I just knew it. I was like, they're fucking trying to... They know that I'm getting vocal, and they don't want me to get vocal, so they're going to start sending drones, and they're going to start harassing me.
Yeah.
And it's silent intimidation.
You're not scared of dying?
I've done some wild shit that nobody knows about in this town. I've done some really wild things, and I just rise up when the time's being. It's right. Like back in 2010, I was selling cars to terrorists. Like nobody knows this.
To terrorists?
To full-blown, like Muslim terrorists that in the Taliban. I was selling cars to them.
Why?
They wanted to do a 10-year anniversary strike on the United States. And people say, oh, Luke's business, he's this, he repos a car the day you're late, the dollar you're short. That's not the case. I got like 40 reporters right now that people are 8 months to a year behind in payments. We'd rather have the money, and we don't want to take the car for them because we know they have to go to work. We know they have to take their kids. I could repo a car on the very 31st day. You're 31 days late, I could legally take it on the 31st day. We've got cars 180, 300 days. We work with people. Mm-hmm. And then when you repo and you finally put the hammer down and repo it, oh, you're the bad guy. But we advertise, we finance anybody. No proof of income, no credit check, no application. You literally bring in a driver's license and put money down on the table, we finance you. And so we've got a good program. And we help a lot of people out with bad credit. So I had this Ford Taurus. It was an unmarked, it used to be an old undercover cop car. Had limo tent windows. Back in 2010, we put it on Craigslist. And they just came down from Denver. These jihadis, these Muslims, came down in a vehicle to look at this unmarked cop car. So they pulled in, and now keep in mind, the day before they got to my dealership, the previous day, there was a Pathfinder on Times Square where they were trying to attack the United States, and the Pathfinder didn't explode. And the guy got on a plane, and they caught him on the runway or in his other country before the plane took off, like a jetliner. Like he was trying to go back to his country.
Yeah.
He bought this Pathfinder off of Craigslist. He put explosives in it, and it was smoldering, and everybody's seen the smoke, and they didn't detonate. Well, he's already on a plane. Well, they tracked it all down, VIN number. They got figured out he was hopping a plane. He was going to get back to his country, and they stopped it. The very next day, these dudes come to look at my Ford Taurus.
Okay.
Not that dude, but Muslim group of men.
All right.
And I'm like, the very first thing when they pulled in, they had a new temp tag. 5 guys in the car to look at this car. Mm-hmm. When we handed them the key, the very first thing they did was pop the trunk. And at that very moment, when they popped the trunk, I said, they're fucking terrorists. Nobody just takes a cop car the day before there's a terrorist attack, an attempt on the United States, and they come in the next day and want to pop the trunk of this undercover cop car. They want to
outfit it with TNT.
And I was like, right away, I was like, those dudes are terrorists. And so I made a call because I knew they were like going to try to kill innocent people. They just did the day before. And I said, this can't happen. We cannot let this happen. I just had that. My gut was just right on. So they said, don't
sell it to them.
So no, they wanted to look at it, and they said they'll be back. So I was in contact with them, and these agents, they said, if you hear from them again, call us. So they came down another day. They showed up in another car with temp tags, and another set of jihads. And Ali was driving, and Hamid was in the vehicle. And
Is that really their names?
yeah, I got their souvenir. I got their wallet right here.
You have their wallet?
I got their wallet. I got their IDs.
The fuck? Can I see this?
Yeah, I got their stuff. That was when they busted them. There's several guys in there.
What the hell?
There's several IDs in there. There's multiple IDs.
Guys, oh my god, you guys can't see this. Where's ID from? This ID's from Saudi Arabia. Oh my gosh. All right, keep going. I'm sorry.
So
what?
So what happened is they came down the next day. They showed up with another vehicle with a temp tag. And at that point, I was like, man, these guys, they got temp tags. They got new vehicles. There's new jihads. And I just knew, I'm like, they're totally up to something no good. So,
The fuck?
isn't that crazy?
That's so insane. And why do they have Denver licenses? Oh my gosh.
They're here on visas.
That's insane.
You see this? Do you see this one?
Here.
Yeah, it's just souvenirs. Ever since they took this group of guys down, I had their stuff.
Is there any like Saudi money in there?
I've got their checkbooks.
A Saudi checkbook, man. That's crazy. I would like to see a dollar bill from there.
Here's a blank check. Here's a blank check. It's one of those temporary checks when they just get here.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
just create an account.
Wow.
It has no name on it. There's no name. It's just a temporary check. So they just came here for a mission. They literally showed up to just
To die here.
they showed up to die here. And so it was a cool
crazy,
story.
yeah.
So to get into it, they finally I was up at the auction, and they called, and they're like another couple days later, and they're like, we're on our way. We're gonna come buy it. And that's when I made the call. I says they're on their way. So these FBI agents, they showed up to the office. They had their FBI chains, their badge hanging from their neck, and they're taking pictures of the car, taking pictures of the VIN number, taking pictures of the trunk, doing all that. The guys pull in. I said, hey, you better put that shit away. They're pulling in. So they tucked their badges and put it underneath their collar, and they took on out. And they called and they said, stall the sale. We got to let state troopers know what we're doing. We got to let PD know what we're doing, and we got to let the local authorities. Everybody, do not pull into this place. Do not pull over this Ford Taurus, because we're going to be tracking it all the way to Denver. So they notified all these local agencies. These guys came in. We stalled the sale. And they waited and waited. And finally we got the call, and they said, go ahead and sell the car. We're watching. So they're sitting up at the AMR building at the ambulance place on Santa Fe. That was when my dealership used to be on the curve. Mm-hmm. And these agents are sitting there, and they're like, they got these big spotting scopes, kind of like the movies, and they could take pictures. So my dad calls, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I said, I guess they're watching us there at AMR. And he goes, I'm on my way. I'm going to go over there. So he goes over there, and they had like spotting scopes, and they had all the technology there watching the whole sale go down. And it was pretty cool to be a part of, because I just didn't want innocent people to die in this country. And I was like, these people are going to blow these fucking cars up. Like, that's not going to happen under my watch.
And they got arrested?
So right after that, so I'm sitting at the desk. We're making the sale. And I'd get a phone call. And I'd get a phone call from National Security, like the terrorist task force or something. I'd get a phone call, and they're like, get as many phone numbers as you can. And I said, okay. They said, first off, I'd pick up the phone. Hey, we're talking about that Ford car outside. Give us some information on it. And after you give me information on it, let me tell you what I want you to do. And I'd say, yeah, that's a Ford Mustang. And then boom, get all the phone numbers as you can. Because if you get as many co-signers as you can, you get phone numbers as you can, we can immediately start a wiretap without any warrant. So when it's national security, just the click of a button, they just tap your shit. Because it's that 9/11 Act or whatever, terrorist act. So we got all these phone numbers from these individuals.
Because they don't care. They're like, I'm going to die in a week anyway.
The Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act.
Oh
so
God.
we got all these
NSA
phone numbers.
Thing.
Yeah.
And they immediately started wiretaps while these guys are driving to Denver in the Ford Taurus. And they're
Holy
following them.
shit.
So they pulled them over off of Fillmore in Colorado Springs, and they asked us. They said, so they didn't have any IDs. They didn't have no Colorado ID, and that was maybe a different group that we were selling a car to, a different group. I mean, I don't know if this group had ID or not, but there was one group that they only had passport, and the agent said sell it on a passport. And that was back before we couldn't sell cars on a passport. They said sell it anyway. Take the fucking passport and sell it. Wow. So, but on this group of guys, they went to Colorado Springs. They pulled them over off of Fillmore. Mm-hmm. They identified everybody, and they said when they take their passport, every stamp on it from every country gives you intel. One stamp will be like military training. One stamp will be technology. One country will be bombs.
Oh, wow.
You know, they'll have, when they go to certain countries, there's different training, and it just kind of, that's what they laid out there for me. So the very next day I get a phone call, and they identified everybody in the car. They sat up on the house with some kind of like device where they could, like, from what it sounded like, this is almost like 15 years ago, so you know, it was a lot to remember. But they honed in on the house, or they tapped their phone. They knew that they were terrorists, and they got this information. The very next day I get a phone call, and it says, the FBI wants to give you an award. We want to take you to lunch. And I was with my father, and I said, do you mind if my dad goes? They said, no, he can come. So we go out to Tubby's Diner when it used to be Romero's, where Romero's is at now in the county. We go out there, and the agent offers, the FBI wants to give you a monetary reward. And I declined it. I said, dude, I don't need that shit. You know, I don't need it. And at the time, I was being prosecuted for a hunting violation. The DOW, the guy that was prosecuting me with the DOW, he used to be my neighbor. He used to live next door to me. His brother was my competitor in the car business. He was a manager at one of the stores. So his brother was a manager at one of the stores, and so it turned into this big old, it got real complicated. So all of a sudden I'm just being charged. I'm ran down this, we said we shot a mother and a cub, and I'm ran with all these charges.
Wow.
And he used to be my neighbor. His brother was my competitor in the car business, one of the managers. Right there for Bear. Yeah, so I'm not understanding why I'm being prosecuted. And we fought that charge for 5 years in court.
Wow.
In and out of court for 5 years.
With no proof.
And, they had all kinds of stupid stuff. You know, they said, well, we have your tire track evidence of your tow truck. And they would literally had pictures of, they said we illegally shot these bears, and they were days old. And so we had these two bears. We were out elk hunting. And I want to make it, I want to make a long story short. So we were out elk hunting, and I forgot my orange hat, and the game warden pulls in and jacked up our hunt with that noisy truck. So we walk off the mountain, and we go down below, and like, what's up? You guys got permission? Yeah, we got permission. Well, the neighbor called you in for trespass. I said, no, you contact this guy. We got permission. So they asked if we seen any bears out there, and we said, no, we're just out elk hunting. They said, we got tons of bears this year. We need people to shoot bears. They got some tags left at the office. So I said, let's go into town and let's go get a bear tag. I never shot a bear tag. Let's go. So we go out to the DOW, and we buy 2 bear tags. We never seen bears out there by the Hatchet Ranch, but we're like, hey, this guy's saying there's tons of bears. Let's go. So we go out hunting, and that afternoon we go back out there, and we're hiking up the ridge, and we hear branches breaking. And we thought we just unbedded some elk that were bedded down, laying down. And this big old freaking bear takes off.
Wow.
And I tell her, I said, shoot it. She says, no, you shoot it. So I laid down a big old black bear, 6.5 foot long.
Wow.
So in gunshot, after shooting it, we unbedded some elk down the ridge, about 300-400 yards. We see him bed up and take off running from that gunshot. So I says, let's go. So I was like looking with the bear. Okay, the bear's down, like right here, trying to get an idea. Like, it's fine. It could wait there for half an hour or an hour while we go to see if we can get a harvest an elk. So we take off running this ridge to intercept them around when they're going to come through this draw. We take off running. Well, now we come across a cinnamon bear. So now we have a black bear on the ground. We have now a cinnamon bear that's like a redheaded kid, a cinnamon bear, and she shoots her bear. So now we have a 5'3" bear, 5'3" bear, and we have a 6.5-foot bear.
Holy shit.
So the hunting's over.
Yeah.
Now we've got to get him. So I call Ron Minton. He's a taxidermist. I say, hey, Ron, I got these 2 bears. I want to bring them in and life-size mount them.
That's awesome.
So he's like, don't cut on them. Don't, because, when you're going to life-size mount it, you want that incision just perfect. So he says, bring them in. I'll gut them, load them on the trailer. So we brought them to Ron Minton. Well, after I think the rules are it's 5 days. You have 5 business days after you shoot a bear. You have to bring in the skull, and then they pull a tooth, and then they cut the tooth like a tree. So they pull the tooth, they cut it, and they count the rings to see how old it is, like a tree. Mm-hmm. So I show up with the 2 skulls to the DOW office, and I show up out there, and the agents are like, hey, where's the other person? And I said, oh, they're not here. Well, you both have to be here. Oh, okay, well, I'll go get them. I didn't think anything of it. So we get there, and all of a sudden, man, they just surrounded me. Now, keep in mind, this game warden used to be my neighbor. His brother's my competitor in the car business. And I'm like, what the hell? I got like 7 agents around me. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. It's a serious agency.
So this is I really wish I would have had this on video. Is the fucking funniest thing, and his name is Alan Vitt. So Alan Vitt is a biologist with the DOW. And he literally had no fucking idea what he was talking about.
Oh, no.
They're out to get me. So I'm there. She's there. We got the 2 skulls there. And they open up the hide. You had to bring the hide and the hide and the hide and the skull. And he opens up this hide. And he goes, Alan Vitt says, why'd you cut the sheath off the penis? And I said, what? And I knew it was a female bear. And he goes, yeah, you tried to alter the sex of an animal. Why'd you cut the sheath off this penis? Like the foreskin.
Yeah,
and I said, what are you talking about?
Fuck?
What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't even cut on them. The Ron Minton did, the taxidermist. And he's sitting here drilling me that I altered the sex of an animal, cutting the sheath off the penis. And I knew it was a female bear.
You can't kill male bears?
No, you can, but he just, I don't know what his deal was. Maybe Ron made an incision wrong, or he did something, or when he gutted it or skinned it.
Yeah.
And I was back then, I was like 26 years old. I mean, I'm a hothead at 43, and I was worse then. And I fucking said it how it was. And I said, let me tell you something, you dumb son of a bitch. I said, you could throw that 4 or 8 year biology degree in the trash. And I pulled that hide, and I was pissed. It's a goddamn female bear. Don't you accuse me of something that I didn't even do. I didn't even cut on these bears.
Yeah.
And so then I embarrassed him around all of his coworkers, and they fucking were out to get me. So then now agents were writing CUB in the dust of my bed of the tow truck, writing cub, CUB. And they're like, it's a cub. This one's a cub. And like, that's a fucking 5.5-foot bear, 5'3" bear, the cinnamon one. And the other one was 6.5. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, and all of a sudden I said, dude, I didn't cut on them. I didn't cut these bears. I said, let's call the Ron Minton, the taxidermist. So I get Ron on the phone and I said, hey, Ron, I'm getting some shit out here. They think these bears are like 2 or 3 weeks old, that we poached them. So he takes my phone. The agent takes my phone. He goes in the Division of Wildlife. And I'm sitting there, and he's inside the facility with my goddamn phone.
That's crazy.
And he's talking to this taxidermist. So finally, I get my phone back. I said, what are you doing? You don't believe me? Oh, I had to verify. Those are fresh kills. But these skulls have been sitting in a plastic bag he set up on his shed in the sun to get him away from his dogs, because his dogs would just eat the skull.
It's a bone, yeah.
So it's a bone and meat. So he said he put them up on there in a plastic bag. So 5 days in the sun, they could think that, they were poached 2 weeks ago. I said, dude, these weren't poached. Like, I'm not going to lose my truck and my shit for a damn bear. You know what I mean? Never went bear hunting. So he's like, all right, they're fresh. We guaranteed that he skinned them, he gutted them, all that. So anyway, they write cub in the truck, and then I lash out again. I said, that ain't a fucking cub. That's goddamn, you just told me that I altered the sex of an animal, and then they said that we shot a cub. Then they said, you shot a mother and a cub. This is the mom, and this is a cub. I said, one's a black bear, and one's a red-headed bear, cinnamon. I said, what are you? And I let him have it. I said, here you said this is a male bear, that I cut the sheath off the penis. Now you're saying that we shot 2 bears. This one is milking on the mama. I said, so now you're admitting it's a female bear. I said, you dumb fuckers, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And I let him have it. I was like, fuck you guys. Well, then about 4 or 5 days later, they come and they pull me over and they fucking arrest me, and
oh shit,
they come to the house and so there was a guy named Matt. He did all the body work in town. This guy named Matt, and I forget Matt's last name, but he had a body shop where that dent shop is. What's that? Doug Nardini's dent shop up there. Well, anyway, this guy Matt used to do work up there. And Matt used to do work for my competitor, and Matt was reasonable. So I was like, hey, I'll go use Matt. I said, you got a problem if I use you? You fix our cars? He's like, no, I'll use you. Well, then Easy Way at the time got pissed off. So Easy Way got pissed off that he's doing Top Notch's work.
Yeah.
And they were bros. So Easy Way pulled all their work from him. They're like, you're going to do work for my biggest competitor? Fuck you. I'm
going to
done.
someone else.
I'm going somewhere else. So then I was in those charges for 5 years in court. 5 years we were fighting this bullshit charges. So all of a sudden, Matt comes to me and he says, dude, I want to give you a heads up. He goes, they're trying to stick you with a felony so that way you can take your dealer's license.
Holy
And
shit.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. And he goes, he got that pissed off because you're his biggest competitor in the car business for the buy here, pay here. He said, they're trying to stick you with a felony so you lose your dealer's license. And that just, I was on another level then. I was like, all right, it's on. So that's why I bought that store on Santa Fe, on 11th and Santa Fe, because Easy Way used to be where RSC is, where Glass Force is. And I was like, I'm going to put that sumbitch out of business. And that's just how my mind was like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. So I was fighting these charges from the DOW. I was helping out with selling cars for terrorists for national security. And I had all this shit going on, and I was like, fuck, like, you're going to try to get me a felony for a bear hunt, and then you're going to try to, and then I'm helping out with national security, and now the guy's they're trying to stick me with a felony because I'm using the same body shop, and all these emotions and all this stuff was happening, and I sat down at the FBI, and they wanted to give me a reward. And my dad said, he don't need the reward, and he don't do it for the reward. But why don't you, since you're the FBI, you look into his bear case and you get to the bottom of it, because his neighbor is the agent and his neighbor's fucking with him and he's trying to stick him with a felony because his brother works for the car dealership and he's the manager. And the agent's like, yeah, I'll take care of that. Fair enough. He's like, I'll get it dropped. This will be easy.
Yeah.
So he goes down there to get the charges dropped. And the DOW didn't want to do it. And the district attorney says, hey, it's totally up to the DOW. And we're getting this backlash. And all of a sudden, they weren't dropping it. They weren't dropping it. And so he goes in there and he says, Luke's helping with national security. Like, he's literally selling cars to these terrorists. I need his further cooperation. Drop these charges. They wouldn't do it.
Wow. They're above the FBI?
No, but they just wouldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
So then I'm like, wow. So here I'm still fighting these charges, no big deal. So finally I get a call from Ron Minton, and I said, Ron, they're trying to say this bear is a cub. They cut the tooth of the bear. They said it was a cub. Literally, I got pictures of it, and I'll post it. I got a picture of a 5'3" bear. The taxidermist calls me, and they said that bear was less than a year old. And it's a 5'3" bear. So I get arrested. I go out to the DOW after I just get arrested, and I use their own literature against them. I walk into the office and I pull all the frickin' bear stuff out of the display. Black bears, all this information. Full-size black bear will be 5 foot, stand on hind legs. 5'3", stretched out on the trailer. Mm-hmm. I got all this information, and they freaked out. They thought I was going to kill them when I walked in there. I grabbed all their stuff, and then I don't remember if they got a restraining order later or something. They got freaked out when I went to the office because they thought I was going to walk in there and just take them out. I was just using their own evidence against them. So anyway, we go through the motions, all that. Finally, my attorney, Randy Jorgensen, he files a hearing. And he tells this FBI agent, he subpoenas him to show up, and we go in front of Judge Mattoon. And anyway, we go in front of the clerk, the court clerk, the reporter, the girl that types everything up, and she commented on one of my Facebook posts. If you go to my Facebook post where I'm bitching on the side of the highway where they were, the code enforcement just showed up and they're messing with me because I'm speaking out against the sheriff.
Yeah.
Her comment's the first one. She actually verifies the terrorist story because we let it out right then and there. We get the game warden on the stand. So what happens that day when we go to court? My attorney gets the agent on the stand, and he says, did an FBI agent go to you with Homeland Security and tell you that Luke was a national hero and tell you to drop these charges because they need his further cooperation in this case? And that game warden testified on the stand. He says, yes. He said, so make that clear. An FBI agent went to you and told you to drop charges because we need Luke to keep helping us with these terrorists, supply them cars. And you said, no, you don't want to drop it? And he says, yes. And he goes, this is my case. I want to prosecute it. Keep in mind the game warden's my neighbor and his brother is my competitor in the car business.
Yeah.
He was a manager for him. So we got roadblocked there. So Jill Mattoon, well, I didn't say back up. Jill Mattoon dismissed it like a month later. She says, I believe that there was an agreement between Homeland Security and the game warden, or that Luke, that if he quits, they wanted to give me a monetary reward. My dad says, just
get his case.
Just look into his case. It's frivolous case. Just look into it. And we knew it was a frivolous case. So anyway, Jill Mattoon says, this is bullshit. I believe that there was an agreement for Luke's cooperation. Well, then they appealed it. And then the appellate court overturned it and kicked it back to court. So they said no. So we had to fight that. So then I get a call from Ron Minton, the taxidermist, and Ron says, hey, Luke, hey, Luke, I know a guy that I just mounted a life-size bear. He was 36 inches long. This bear is this big.
That's insane.
It's 22 inches off the ground.
That's a cub.
And they said that was a 3 to 4-year-old bear. And Ron says, get your hands on that bear. He says, that's going to be your best defense. This bear was this big. Ours was this big. This bear was this big. It was this high off the ground. It looked like a little tiny dog.
Oh, man.
And he said, then he had the paperwork that bear, the DOW aged at 3 to 4 years old. So I go get that bear from the guy that had the life-size mounted. And we put it in Randy. We put it in Randy Jorgensen's office. So it's sitting in Randy Jorgensen's office. So Randy Jorgensen tells the DA, "Come on over to my office. I want to show you our main piece of evidence. Since you guys are trying to stick Luke with the felony, here's our main piece of evidence." And I guess that guy walked in there and looked at that little tiny bear and said, "How are you going to explain when the DOW says this little tiny bear that's a third of Luke's size of his bear is 3 to 4 years old, and you're going to say this big ass bear is only less than 12 months?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Fuck." So then Randy came to me and says, "Look, the DA realizes they don't have a case. We could try the case. The Division of Wildlife wants to push it. This agent for the DOW, that was my neighbor, and he says he wants to push it. So we've made a deal. If you donate $1,000 to any charity in Pueblo, any charity of my choice, and you don't hunt for 5 years, it just goes away."
What the fuck?
And my attorney was like,
Doesn't make it.
my
Doesn't make
attorney
any
was
sense.
like, "Luke, do you plan on hunting after this with all the shit you've been through?" And I says, "No." And he goes, "Just take it. You're going to spend $20,000 in legal fees. We're going to go to court.
Yeah.
What if you get an animal loving jury that says, 'Oh, he shot a bear. He's a bad guy.'" So I regret that one to this day. I wish I would have fought it and went to court and proved my innocent. But I was like, fuck them. I'm not going to hunt for 5 years anyway after the bullshit they put you through. So I gave the $1,000 and I didn't hunt for 5 years, and I ain't hunted since.
Wow, it's
been 15 years.
It's such a ridiculous, is that even a punishment? I don't even know if I.
Oh, they make it so hard on people. You're just out there having a good time, and they just want to stick it right to you. They do exactly what the sheriff does.
So you've been under the scrutiny of elected officials for a while. Oh, I guess the partner. Are they even elected? How does that even work?
No. it was just a situation. But so then I ran into that Alan Vitt just actually last year, like 15 years later. I ran into him at the gas pump, and I let him have it right there on Thatcher. 15 years later since this happened.
Yeah.
And he pulled up and he was pumping gas, and I pulled up and I was pumping gas. And I was like, I shouldn't even say anything. But, you know, I'm vocal. Like, I stand for what I believe in.
As you should.
I stand with my convictions. Like, I'm a principled guy. And I said, let me tell you something, Alan. I said, what you fuckers did to me and what you guys ramrodded me through court for 5 years, I said, that was fucking wrong. And he pretty much admitted. He's like, hey, that I had nothing to do with that. That was Danny's deal. That wasn't me. That was Danny's deal. If Danny did you wrong, that's Danny's wrong. And he kept, and
that's,
you know,
coward.
He admitted that Danny did me wrong. He admitted it.
I mean, he was there too.
He admitted it. He's like, he admitted. He's like, you know, I did. That was Danny's deal. He might have done you wrong, but that was Danny's deal. And I was just like, I'm never gonna hunt again. And ever since I started raising my own beef, my own goats, I don't go hunting. I got all the meat I need, but I'm gonna still get back out there. I'm gonna start doing it again. I can't let that jade me, but it jaded me for 15 years. But so back to the terrorist thing. So I got to tell you a cool deal. So we had that meeting, and it went on for a long time. They were collecting intel, and they were building a case on these guys. They said these guys are straight up terrorists. They're gonna blow these cars up. And I knew it from day one.
Which is insane.
So I had people call me from all over the country. I would get these phone calls, and I must have been their go-to guy. Like, hey, man, like all these Saudi Arabia and Ali. I would repo the car because they didn't realize in Colorado you have to have insurance. And then being I was a lien holder because I financed it, I could repo it off of no insurance. I couldn't repo it off there up to payment, but I had the option. I could repo it for no insurance. So sometimes I'd grab it off of no insurance, and we'd repo it, and they would come into the office. And Ali and Hamid Hamid was in the office, and Hamid wasn't a co-signer. He didn't sign on the note. And Ali was the one that was on the car deal. And Hamid would show up, and he's like, look, I swear on my God, I take care of you. I take care of you. He says, give me the car back. I need the car. Please give me the car back. I take care of everything. I pay you. I get the insurance. I will do what I swear on my God. I take care of you. He gets Ali on the phone in Saudi Arabia, and Ali's like, look, I swear on my God, I take care of you. When I get back, I will promise I will do everything for you. And I would fuck with him by then. And I says, well, you say you'll do anything. I said, send me a baby camel. And I was jacking at that time. I cannot sing camel. A camel too big. I can't sing camel on boat.
What the fuck?
I can't. I would fuck with him. You know, I was going to give him the car back. You know, he's like, then I was just jacking him at that point. And he's like, I cannot sing baby camel. Well, then I found out he would always brag that he had over 100 camels, his dad. Well, then when I was in the FBI office in Springs, and we laid out these recordings that we had of them, that they were going to blow up these cars. Like, finally, I literally just told these guys, it says, I called them out, and I thought, I'm going to just see where it goes. And I said, Hamid, I know what you guys are going to do with these cars. You're going to fucking blow these cars up. I know exactly what you're doing. And I had it on audio, and he's like, yeah, something like that. Yeah, like we like boom, and he's like, you know, like we like bang, and he says, Ali's gonna come in from Saudi Arabia, and he's gonna go to heaven in 2 weeks. He says, in 2 weeks we go to heaven, and I says, well, shit. I said, I want to go to heaven, and I says, can I go? And he goes, no, you can like help us in the, and I have this on audio, and maybe someday I'll release it. He goes, you can like help us in like the translation of the language and get us into like certain locations, but you cannot go to heaven because you're not anointed. You cannot go to heaven. And they really fucking believe this shit, you know? And I was like, wow. Like, and at that point I like knew, I was like, they just confirmed everything. Like, they're gonna blow these cars up.
In 2 weeks we go to heaven.
They said it right from their own mouth. They said they're gonna like, yeah, we're gonna like boom. And I'm like, so I took that audio. We went to the Colorado Springs, and I gave it. And there's a agent up there. He's patting my back. He says, "Dude, thank you, appreciate that." You know, and at that point, they said they have a plan to attack the United States, and we're going to stop this.
Wow, it could have been in Colorado.
You could have been anywhere.
Could have been in Colorado.
We don't know where it was.
Could have been in Pueblo.
So they were going to blow these cars up. And then I had multiple people in this, like it was like this national thing. I had people from Tennessee. I had people all over wanting here, vans, box trucks. I had all these people wanting this they were all Islam and Muslims. And so another guy comes down, a total separate incident. He comes down. He sits down at the table and he says, I like to buy 2 cars. I like buy 2 cars. And he says, but I need you to ship these cars to parking lot in Denver and take these 2 cars to here's the map. You put the keys on the seat and park them here. And he says, how much will you ship these 2 cars to Denver for? And I says, $1,000. He said, okay, I pay. Let's do it. So he literally is sitting at my desk. Never even fucking looked at these cars. Never walked out there. Never started them. Never drove them. He sits there and he goes, I take that red car right there and I take that green car right there. Didn't fucking drive them. Didn't start them. Didn't see how many miles were on them. And I was just like, dude, these guys are up to no good. Well, at that time, there was an agent in the office because this is the big terrorist group. Mm-hmm. He's sitting on the wood stove and he looked at me and he's like, so we go outside and he says, we talked outside and went back inside and I says, all right, let's do the deal. You got the ID? I not have no ID. I have passport. I said, all right. I says, give us your passport. So he puts a USB drive in. Puts a USB drive in the computer and we click on these files and I just hit select all and it's just printed off everything, And he was fucking wigging out. He was sweating. He had that, he was straight up Muslim guy, and he's sweating. He goes, pull the paper. What are you doing? You're printing all my stuff. You're printing my stuff. He gets up. He goes around the desk. He actually goes behind my desk. He pulls the paper so it wouldn't keep printing stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is going on? And he's just like, the agent's watching. And so then he goes, dude, you got to get this dude out of here. He's like, this guy's, what the fuck's on that USB drive? So we go outside, we talk, go back inside, and I said, hey, let's go for a drive in this car. Or I said, let's go outside, something's wrong with this car. He looked very nice. I take it. I said, no, let's go outside, check it out. So he gets in the passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. He gets in the passenger seat. Well, first he's standing at my door, and I started, and he goes, and it had no noise. I just told him it had a noise. And he started it, and he goes, no, it sounds good. It sounds good. I take it. And I said, no, you got to get in. And when you get in, we go forward and back. It's going to make a noise. Okay. He gets in, and I fucking take off. We go out to the county. And I take off. He goes, where do you take me? Let me out. Where do you take me? I said, let's go get a donut. So we go get a donut. What the fuck? We go get a donut, and they're seeing what the fuck's on that USB drive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they had to find out what's going on with that USB. And so finally they're like, we're good, come back. We come back, and that stack of paper that he took.
It's all printed.
It's gone.
Oh.
He comes back, and he goes, where are my papers? What happened to my papers? And the agent and the agent say, we started a fire. We didn't think you wanted them. We just started a fire. And he's like, he didn't know what to think, And they're like, we didn't think you wanted them. We just started a fire. It's cold outside. And so it was just those cool things.
He's like, all right, that's okay.
There's those cool things. And like, I rose up when the time was needed. I repoed their cars when the time was needed. And these people would pray at my, they would try to cast a spell, they'd sit on their knees and they would do their praying, and they're not even facing north when they were doing it. They're supposed to face north, and they would do all this stuff, and I'm like, my main goal was like, I don't want to see innocent people die. I don't give a shit. Like, you know what? Like, things could be easier if we all just stay silent. But I'm not one to do that. None of this stuff would have happened with Dave Lucero and all this stuff if people just fucking leave me alone. Like, let me live a peaceful life. You escort me when I'm trying to fight for, for our ballot harvesting and our freedom of our vote. You put deputies on me. You try to silence me. Then you try to tow my box truck. Mm-hmm. Then I say vote out Dave Lucero because I'm tired of the bullshit. They fly a drone over the house. They do the shit to Joey. They fire Joey. I mean, after a while, you're like, if you just leave me alone and let me live a peaceful life, I won't yap my jaw. But you just keep fucking with me, I just get vocal. Like, I'm not going to be one of those guys like, okay, you intimidated me. Okay, I'm going to stay silent. No, I believe in my convictions, and I believe in my message. Mm-hmm. And I want to live a peaceful life. I don't want to keep doing this. There's a situation. I went after an individual in Pueblo that was running for office, and that ended because I was fighting for change, and I was fighting for, just total change. And that's one that I regret. There's one of them that I did that I regret doing. And it wasn't because I have no beef with the person. I just did it because I felt like at the time it was the right thing to do, and it was a friend of mine that was running for office. And I didn't have a problem with his opponent. I just wanted him to win because, I grew up with the guy, and I was like, yeah, I'll try to help you win. And that's the one I regret. Did
he win?
He won.
Oh.
And I don't want to go into it, but I hold some regret on that because it's like I'm outspoken and I just say it out how it is, And so
I think people respect that, though.
With what the sheriff is doing, what he did to Joey, like, Joey, why don't I quit talking? You tell him what you did when he fired you and how he's smiling. And
oh, yeah, that's like the kicker for me. He's just sitting across the table from me, and maybe one of these days I'll release the recording. I just listened to it the other day, and I was just fired me up all over again. But he just
we're releasing it before the election.
So
we're releasing it.
All right, there you go. So, he just the way he looked at me, and it was just like, best way I can describe it is the devil's smile, and just you get that real, just like kind of just goes up. And he looked at me across from the table and just gave me that and fired me. And I called him out on it too. I was like, "You're literally enjoying this right now. You're sitting there smiling at me." What he was saying and his body actions, what you hear on audio, is like different than how he was presenting himself towards me. Mm-hmm. It was the most evil. There was just pure evil behind it.
Well, you called him out. You said, "You're enjoying this. You're smiling."
Yeah, you're smiling.
Joey said, "I heard the recording."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just, the guy, he gives a lot of women the ick. He's just kind of a creep. There's something off with him, and I tell Luke this all the time. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with Lucero, but I look into his eyes, and I'm just like, there's an evil motherfucker behind those eyes. And, yeah, he's just not, I've sold him chili. Like, I've sold him chili before, but it's just, you just kind of keep your mouth shut when you're doing business. But it's just, there's something off about him. He's just not a good guy. I mean, you hear about all the retaliation that he does to me, to Brad Rosillo, to Mike Martinez, to...
Other than firing you, what's something else that's happened to you?
Oh, just kind of how he runs the show. I mean, just everybody there at the sheriff's office, when I was running, they want to change and everything like that. And, nobody can really speak up because just the retaliation. And what they do at the sheriff's office actually is, if you guys are all wondering, at the sheriff's office, what we've uncovered, what they're doing now is, or what they've been doing for decades now, is they like to keep a paper trail. They nitpick everything that everybody does, and they sit there and document on their deputies. That way, when it's time for one of them to rise up and run for sheriff, they have all this fucking information on you, and they just make you look like the biggest piece of shit in the world. Mm-hmm. And you're just a regular human being just trying to do your job.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
This is from an outside perspective.
He's literally controlling... David Lucero is literally controlling the elections. Because when you're a good deputy, and if you ever think you want to run for sheriff, they write you up over the most minute things. And then they get a file on you. And then what they do is they got connections with the news, the chieftain, and then it's a brotherhood. Like, they're protected, but so nobody else rises up and runs for office because they've wrote you up to the past 10 years of all the stupid shit, And then they hang that over your head. Well, we'll release that if you run for office, and we got a file on you. And then good people don't want to serve this community. So we get what we get. These leaders say this is who we're going to praise, this is who we're going to bow down to. And there's like in this last election, or this election of Dave, there was 4 deputies that wanted to run for sheriff, but they knew they were going to lose their job, and they knew that Dave was going to pull a file on them and just make him look to be a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And he's literally controlling the elections. No Republican ran against Dave. No Republican. Only Alan Medina is the only Democrat running against Dave, and he's brave enough to do it because he doesn't work for him.
So was Nobody Dave Lucero a deputy? Was he a deputy in Pueblo at any point?
Years ago. He started off as a deputy. He came from Lamar, I believe.
So why?
And there's a whole other thing with that, but
why wouldn't they want to promote the deputies they currently have? What is the positive of keeping the same sheriff in there for decades? How long can a sheriff serve anyway?
Well, that's why we wanted Dave Lucero here to ask him that, because we wanted to ask Dave, are you in the drug trade business? That's a question. Are you protecting people, Dave? We've got some video here we'd like for you to show, but you didn't show up. Dave, we've got some really good questions that we've got some video that we want to ask you, and we want to get you on camera, and we want to get your response. Are you in the drug trade business? Are you protecting certain people? Why are you do not take a drug test and somebody calls you out? I was willing to give away $500 St. Baldrick's for childhood cancer, which I still gave $500 away, regardless with Dave Lucero's hair follicle test. I shaved my head. I gave away $500. I was going to give away a Porsche. I have no problem giving that car away. I would have handed anybody the title, like anybody that shared that post. I said, if you share this post, you'll be put into a drawing, and I will literally just give it away. Sell it for $1. Mm-hmm. I have to sell it for $1, and I'll give you the $1. But I have to put $1 on the paperwork. He didn't show up. What sheriff in the history of probably the whole United States, a sheriff, you think when somebody calls out the sheriff is there, he's going to show up and stand his guard. Yeah. He's going to stand his ground. I mean, he ain't going to talk about me like that, right?
Yeah, the classic imagery of a sheriff.
The sheriff would be like that. I'm going to show up and I'm going to redeem my name. And guess what? We got a sheriff. Sheriff Dave Lucero, come do a drug test. I'm going to give away $500. I'm going to give away a Porsche. He won't even show up. You're going to take a family that could benefit from this car. I don't give a shit if you didn't want to drive it. You could turn around and sell it. If you didn't want the Porsche, just turn around and sell it and put the money in your pocket. I literally, 3 months ago, was like, I will give this car away if you just do a hair follicle drug test. For the goodness to show the community, like, let's redeem him. Let's let him redeem himself. Now, if he does a drug test now, the time has already passed from what the information we had. The time is already have. There's no point in doing one now because you'll probably buy something online and say, well, I've went here. No bullshit. Like,
he's gonna pop out with a shaved head.
Like, shaved eyebrows. When you do the research on the hair follicle stuff, like the information that I had, all I wanted was transparency for this community. When you literally, for the last 3 years, you drive around our community, 4th Street, broken windows, Santa Fe, broken windows, all over, and you have a sheriff that you're going, a back surgeon, you do 100 back surgeries a year, a sheriff. You are here to serve and protect the community. How many large drug busts have you done in the last 3.5 years that you've been sheriff? Count them all on one hand. And that's pathetic. That fentanyl is destroying our community. And don't get me wrong, they're probably popping individuals with a bag of pills or whatever. But I'm talking, you're the professional. You're the king of law enforcement. How many, Dave? How many have you done? How many have you put on the news? It's embarrassing. And for that guy, let me finish, for that guy to be our sheriff and wanting re-election when we've seen our community decline at its worst it's ever been with over 100 buildings boarded up. Do we wait to get a new sheriff when it's 500 buildings? Do we wait to say, whoa, it's out of control? We should have listened to Luke. You remember back 4 years ago when I told every single buddy in Pueblo, I said, if you don't listen to me, our county assessor, he's going to raise the shit out of your property taxes. It's coming. Listen to me. Vote for Angel Lewis. He's a tax happy. He's going to raise your taxes. Nobody listened to me. And this year, everybody got their tax their tax bill for their property tax, and I guarantee a lot of people are going, we should have listened to Luke. When I tell you a message and I say this person's no good for the community, I genuinely mean it. I wholeheartedly mean it. Our sheriff is no good.
Maybe
he can't run for re-office, and he legally can, but he shouldn't. He should be so embarrassed of himself. He shouldn't be running for office. The town looks like shit. The crime's out of control. He's not letting our officers take people to jail.
Maybe town is completely a messenger.
Our town is completely crumbling.
You know, maybe people just they like the message, but maybe it's you.
Well, and it could be, but I don't think no matter whoever speaks out, they don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's not the normal to do what I'm doing. People don't like it. If you're vocal on social media, oh, that person's crazy. I don't want to be doing this, but I got balls to do it, and I'm not scared to do it. You're not going to fly a drone over my house. You're not going to send your deputies to sit in front of my house for hours on end and try to intimidate me so I don't share my story and I don't get my information out there. You're going to try to silence me, and you're going to sit your officers there in front of my house in a marked car for hours on end and do nothing. Not knock on the door, not say hi, not give me any paperwork. Just literally sit there with the Pueblo County Sheriff vehicle and try to intimidate me and silence me because he's scared what I'll release. I'm not backing down. I'm not going to back down. I don't back down. I try to walk away from a fight, but when you push me in a corner, I'm going to fight. I just, no matter what it is, I've just been that way my whole life. And you're not going to try to intimidate me, and there's a reason for Sheriff being in office. We know the information that we have. We're not going to release it right here. If we can get him on the show, we'll release it.
I can. My brain is already making connections. I feel like
and this guy literally cannot move this community forward. If I was your sheriff, mm-hmm. and I'm not saying I'm running for sheriff, but if I was your sheriff, I promise you wouldn't have as bad of a homeless problem as we have. Joey and I have investigated this. We've drove this community. We've literally have gave people cigarettes to chill out, to warm up, and talk to us. We've told them, say nothing but the truth. Like, say the truth. And we've networked with these people. You cannot send a deputy in an officer uniform and say, hey, where are you from? They're going to just jam up and they're going to say, I'm not telling you.
Definitely.
They're not going to talk to you. They don't like law enforcement. But if I was sheriff, I would send two guys, plain clothes, and I'd say, hey, man, how you doing? You want a glass of water? I'd just like to shoot the shit with you, get some history. We're doing a story. Where are you guys from? Here's a cigarette. Talk to these people. Warm up to them. Find out. Get them to talk to you. Find out where are you from. And then say, hey, could I get you back home for a $100 bill and a bus ticket? And if they said yes, act on it. Get it done. But he's literally destroying our community. And then he goes over to the Republicans. He's like, tells them what they want to hear. And then he's a chameleon. He goes to the Democrats and he just tells them what they want to hear. And he literally, whatever crowd he's in front of, he will just change the person he is. Okay. People are like, oh, he's such a sweetheart. Like, I could literally talk till midnight of all the situation that.
But what you just said is exactly what we don't want people to do. What we stated earlier in the podcast. You just said, if we go to homeless people and we give them $100 and a bus ticket to take them home, that's exactly what people are allegedly doing in Pueblo. They're giving them buses here. Like, what? That's not the answer, I don't think. Is it? I don't think it is.
You have to. You wipe your ass every time you shit. You don't just say, well, heck, I'm going to do it again tonight. You've got to just keep wiping it, you know? So
be homeless
when you get people here, you've got to try. It's got to be a balance. If not,
we got to take care of the homeless people that are from Pueblo first.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the guys that went to East or South or County or whatever, and they're homeless or whatever the case. They're a Pueblo citizen. That's fine. Let's help those guys out. But we need to help those guys out first before we can start helping out other homeless people and saying, come on. Now they're sending all the homeless down here, and it's bogging the whole system.
Yep.
It's bogging the whole system.
I see this.
So
and you have to
taper it off.
Even if you got out one a day, if they send us 5 a week from Denver and we sent 5 a week back, it's just keeping a balance on the crime rate. It's keeping a balance. But you cannot just say, well, we're the hub for the homeless. And accept it. You can't. A leader will not accept that. A leader will figure out a way. It's so easy to do. Plain clothes. Once you get them to agree and they warm up to you and they're like, yeah, we'll leave the community. If you get us a bus ticket or a $100 bill, we'll go back to where we came from. that's when you pull out the camera. That's when you pull out the documents for them to sign. That's when you get them on body camera to say, yes, I'm competent. You ask them some questions to be competent. I'm willing to go back home. What's your name? See if they have an idea. If they don't, but at least get their story all on video. And then when you get that story on video, now you can't be sued later to say you kidnapped somebody, you took them to another town they didn't want to go to. When they're in agreement of it, you document that file, you have them sign a form, you try to get an ID, and if they're competent and they're saying, I'm willing to go back, and this is where I'm from, and maybe call my mom or call my dad, here's his phone number, or here's their last name, and you look them up and you verify it, you're not going to get sued by the ACLU. Because that's what everybody's so worried about. Oh, I'm going to get sued. If we ship them out, we're going to get sued. Get the job done, clean up the damn community, and get it done. If not, step the hell out and let somebody else stand in there to get the job done. Like, I don't want to be a politician. I'm not coming on this show to run for office. But get the job done.
Well,
let's clean this community up.
I mean, it sounds amazing, and trust me, I am on you guys' team. I want to see Pueblo thrive too, but it's such a large task that is really plaguing the entire nation. No city from New York to LA to any city in between, they don't have homelessness figured out, because there is no answer to homelessness. You know, the answer to homelessness is affordable living. It's really like these large ideas that are really intangible.
No, there's an answer to it.
What is it?
It's actually doing the sheriff's job. The sheriff garage is right across the street from the new homeless facility. Their job is there. Undercover could be... I drive down 4th Street. I see drug deals constant with the homeless. And I'm not even an undercover. You're telling me you can't put people across the street and watch a cell, bust them, and clean this community up? It's being overran. It's a pre-planned... This is a planned thing. It's literally like turn your head plan thing. I don't think it's like totally planned out, but I think it's like, oh, turn your head, you didn't see that.
Yeah.
Like, if you truly love this community and you want to fix homelessness, take away the drugs and those homeless will go somewhere else. If you stay on it and you hammer and you clean up this town, those homeless will say, hey, it's pretty hard to find drugs here, and they're going to leave. But he has no idea how to plan it. And I was just told that Dave Lucero is going to try to plan a big drug bust this month to get some votes, because he's desperate for votes. So how does that make it happen?
How do you plan a drug bust?
They got intel throughout all the months, all that leading up, and they're going to mysteriously do it right before the election so Dave Lucero shines. Like, why didn't you do it last month or the month before? Why did you let all these people get poisoned for all these months, but now you're going to come out right before the election and hit a drug bust, so it's all on the news, and it's like, oh, look at me, I'm doing a good job. Bullshit. Your last 3 years of your leadership, you ain't done hardly any.
Yeah,
You've fucking destroyed this town, and now you're going to, the information that we get, now you're going to try to come out and play politics. Why didn't you do it last month? Why'd you let all those people suffer? Month after month, people die from overdoses, and you're going to do it right before the election?
That's insane. Using it as a social opportunity, that is fucked up. That's insane. I agree with you there. If that really does come into fruition in the next, because when is the election?
June 30th.
June 30th. If that really comes into fruition in the next 10 days or 20 days, that's really telling.
All politics. We went in Pueblo. Our community suffered. We went 14 weeks without a sworn-in undersheriff. That's our leadership. That's what we have as a sheriff. He literally couldn't pick an undersheriff in his cabinet. He couldn't say, you're the best qualified.
Well, and he was kind of playing. He was kind of playing them too.
He was playing politics.
He's playing politics. So he's got all these people that are applying for the undersheriff job. Well, he knows as long as he can hold that job
string
in
you
front
along,
of him, they're going to keep promoting him to run for sheriff.
Yeah.
And he just played him, and then he ended up picking Shelley Bryant.
That woman, yeah, I saw her.
So, well, he let all these people believe they had a shot at it because he wanted their
support. It was already orchestrated. They
Yeah.
knew when Steve Bryant, the previous undersheriff, was getting out. He knew he was putting in Shelley, but he just played these other guys along.
He wasn't gonna announce his undersheriff. So what he was planning on doing, he doesn't know if he's winning or losing. So he was gonna wait till after, because he didn't want to do this before the election. Because then what happens, and when he announces before the election, he pissed off everybody that applied. So now they might go for the other guy because they all put in. So he wanted to wait to see if he won, but by Joey and I hitting the streets, and it's been 12 weeks, it's been 13 weeks, it's been 14 weeks, or 13 weeks and no undersheriff. By us actually trying to educate the public, we put so much pressure on him. And that last video, we said, you have 72 hours or else we're going to start dropping recordings. The very next day, he appointed an undersheriff.
Wow. Why her?
Well, that was the undersheriff that he appointed is the previous undersheriff's wife.
Oh.
So it's and I got no beef with Shelley. I'm not here to run her down. I've got no beef with her. And I don't even want to go on that topic because I really don't, I don't have any beef with even saying anything.
Shout out Shelley.
But it's the sheriff. We need a new sheriff in this community. And I can go on, and I want to touch base on something else. That how are you the sheriff and you see a social media post from a prominent deacon?
Oh, yeah.
A prominent deacon posts something about you. Dave Lucero goes to the bishop to fire a deacon from St. Joseph's Church? What in the hell is wrong with...
You want to play that video for
Yeah.
these
And then,
people?
hold on, let me... You want to play it?
Yeah, let him play
Okay.
it.
But you could
keep
keep
talking.
introducing us to the idea.
So then, he goes and he takes our sheriff, goes and takes the deacon's son, Brad Rosillo, a master deputy that has found the Jingle Bell Rock 2 times.
Oh, no.
That is trained individuals. He took that deputy and he kicked him back to the jail where he started his career. All because Brad Rosillo started a union at the sheriff's department.
And walked in my parade.
And walked in Joey's parade. So Brad Rosillo was for Joey winning sheriff. And Dave was like, fuck you, I'll make it hard on you. So Dave literally kicked Brad Rosillo back to the
Master
jail.
deputy, one of
a
the
master deputy.
One of the best cops in Pueblo, honestly. Like I truly wholeheartedly believe that. Like Brad has trained dozens, maybe even hundreds of people throughout his career.
Wow.
I mean, he's a top-notch cop. Like he is so thorough and good at what he does. I mean, the man is like so clean and meticulous. He washes his car every day. I mean, he is just on point guy. So to have someone like that to be ripped off the streets out of retaliation is the stupidest fucking move that you could make for an agency. I mean, the guy was a veteran. The young cops would go up to him. How do you do this, Brad? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. He was there to mentor them, to carry them through so they're successful in their career. And Lucero literally ripped him the fuck out of there and put him back behind a desk at the jail. And he's just burning time.
All because he showed loyalty to Joey. Because he knew Dave wasn't qualified to be sheriff.
He's my buddy, but I'm not letting that like murky up my judgment. Like he literally is a good, genuine human being. And
then
what was his name again?
Brad Rosillo. He started the union, and then he tried to go get Brad Rosillo's dad, that's dedicated his whole life, Ed Rosillo, to God. He's a deacon at St. Joseph Church. Made a comment. Check it out.
All right, so here is a video for the people listening on Spotify and Apple. There is a video if you want to go to YouTube and check it out. I'm going to make sure you guys can see it at home. All right, let's go. The headphone has the audio.
Yeah. This is Joey Musso.
Hi, how you doing, sir?
How do you do?
Good.
You want to visit with me?
Yeah, if we can just get a couple minutes of your time, just get a blessing from you.
Yeah, I'm sure running late, but come on.
All right, if you don't mind.
I heard something from Deacon Rosillo that really concerned us. And our sheriff, David Lucero, Deacon said he went to the bishop and tried to get him fired over a comment. That's really concerning that our sheriff would go to you and try to get another guy fired. What's the reason for that?
My position as a bishop is I take a lot of confidential information, and I can't talk about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I've talked to David a couple of times since then, and I've talked to the other party also.
We just want
historical stuff.
Why would he do that? For what reason?
I never know. I never really question the motivations. I just try to handle the information, try to bring it together as good as I can.
Well, I just want to say thanks for not firing him.
And I talked to both of them, and it was really unfortunate. And I agree, there was something that came to me and said this was public. He's a public figure. Can you do something about it?
We gotta go. Mass starts at 11:30.
Yeah.
Mr. Rosillo, I just got done talking to the bishop,
Yes.
and he confirmed the conversation with the sheriff
Yeah.
about that social media post.
Okay.
I just have one honest question.
Yes, sir.
Did David Lucero go to the bishop and try to get you fired from standing up for your son for a comment? Yes or no?
I would say that was his intent. That was his mission that day.
Oof.
But yeah, he did go there for a reason, and it was because of that post. And,
The post that you
and he
stood up.
did, yeah, and he did make the comment that a prominent clergy, a deacon, spoke out against me, and that's as far as I can say.
Okay.
So if he had intent of having me reprimanded, I can't really say the bishop would have to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to the chancellor also, and she said the same thing. She would take all the information, submit it to him, but if you've talked to him firsthand, yeah. So.
Well, thank you for doing what's right and standing up for your son.
You bet, man.
And we just
Yeah,
want
absolutely.
we want goodness for our community, and we all know that if that Dave Lucero's coming for your son, and he's going to try to fire him if he wins this election.
Right.
And all you did as a father was just say the truth.
I just stood up for my son, and as I told the bishop, and I copied everything in that post, and I sent it to the bishop before he had his meeting, and he didn't even look at it until after. He said, he said, I talked with the Chancellor Joel, and yes, she confirmed that there is retribution going on in the jail, and that my son was a target of it, getting demoted. But yeah.
For the sheriff to have the audacity to see something online that he doesn't like,
Oh, what a spineless, yeah.
to go to the
Finn.
sheriff or to go to the bishop and try to get retaliation on your job is pathetic as a sheriff.
Pathetic, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you,
Like I
Deacon.
say, quote him directly, and you got my information.
Damn.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm
Deacon.
glad
You're
did
going
that,
against
yeah.
God.
Thank you.
Because I was just going to call
That's
you.
the
And
thing
tell you.
is,
That's
You
when
put
I
it in
say, when
writing
I
and send it to the
look at
chan-
that man and I see there's pure fucking evil behind those eyes, this is a perfect example of it.
That's insane.
and you
Going against
see
the man
you
of
see
God.
the people that like his posts, like the people like Dave in his campaign posts, he'll put that stuff out there and people like it. And I literally say, you literally don't give a shit about the stuff I put out there. He literally went to the bishop to fire a deacon, and you're standing behind this evil man. And I question everybody I see that like that. And then I see a county commissioner that likes it and loves what Dave's doing. That same county commissioner calls me, hey, don't talk about the ballots going to the courthouse. Don't do that.
Ex-county commissioner, right?
Ex-county commissioner.
That should
And
be.
I see who supports him, and I go, don't get me wrong, there's a few good individuals in there. There's some that I know that I'm like, why would you ethically stand behind a man that targets anybody that speaks against you? Or I don't give a shit if you work at that agency. Why wouldn't you call Alan B and say, hey, I want to work hard for you when you're sheriff?
I mean, even
I
as
can't
a
support
citizen-
this guy.
Even as a citizen, can I speak freely? Like, am I gonna get in trouble for just having the conversation? I was definitely thinking about that.
Like, literally, like it boils down to, this is our community. Our state is just crumbling, and our sheriff, David Lucero, isn't even from the state of Colorado. What are we doing electing somebody? If we had a sheriff in L.A. that said, I'm coming from California, I want to be Pueblo sheriff, we would all freak the hell out. We would say, absolutely hell no, look at L.A. Why are we not rising up and just saying, no, we're not going to allow this guy that's not even from Colorado? Like, how can you rubber stamp your name? Dave Lucero is the sheriff of Pueblo. It looks like shit, not everywhere, but the crime is out of control, the homeless is out of control, the boarded up buildings are out of control, and you literally want to stamp Pueblo with your name on it. I would be embarrassed to run for re-election if I was him. It's time to switch hands and somebody else to run this community.
And you guys think Alan Medina is the guy to do it?
He's going to start taking people to jail.
Oh, yeah.
And that you got to do that. You spank your own kids. When they act out, you spank them, right? Mm-hmm. You break windows and you victimize our businesses, you go to jail. That's your spanking. And Alan's going to do that. And our current sheriff doesn't.
Okay.
Dave, hold on. For the last 36, you've been there. Let's see, 6, 7, 8. You've been there like 40 months. For the last 40 months, take all your news articles of all the major drug busts you've done and put them on a Facebook page tomorrow. For the last 40 months, and let's see him. It's pathetic what our sheriff is about. Literally pathetic.
I got him right here.
That how you're going to probably have a dozen news articles.
I got
in the last 40 months.
1, 2,
That's
3.
pathetic.
I got 5.
5 drug busts.
I've got
5 drug busts in 40 months of his.
ChatGPT. It's 2023.
Oh, but it scraped everything.
Five drug busts in the last 40 months. It's pathetic. He should not be our sheriff. I think it's actually more than that. It's about 42 months. Yeah, it's about 42, 40, 43 months that he's been. Well, and then he was sworn in before. He was sworn in before the election. So he's at 48 months by the time he was sworn in. How many months was he sworn in? So he's like between 42 and 48 months of being in office.
He went in earlier.
Because he went in early before the election. So you got 5 big drug busts news articles?
According to ChatGPT.
According to ChatGPT. That's pathetic. Yeah. Our town is being destroyed. And literally, his Dave Lucero signs, and you see him in Pueblo. Yeah, he might have more signs than Allen, but he's the worst sheriff in Pueblo history.
Out of 38 sheriffs.
You have never seen this community hit this
Every
low.
one of those signs should be a reminder to not vote for him. Because it's just so... And here's the thing. We say it's so bad. We're not saying like the whole town is bad. I just put up a beautiful video of the Riverwalk the other day. Beautiful down there. I love going down there. I love walking it. It's peaceful. Birds chirping, you know what I mean? The fish are swimming. But you get outside of that, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We're not that far from it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's common sense. It's... Why would you go down that same path?
We just want the town to be better.
We want it to prosper.
We want it to prosper. We want it to grow. We want it to be vibrant. You want it to be like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, let's go to Pueblo,
people that live in
Colorado.
University Park, they don't see it. People that live in Rye, they don't see it. But come into the community. Get in deep. Get into the city. See the homelessness. See the boarded up buildings. Go over here and eat at the mill stop. Drive that neighborhood. Drive
parts
northern.
of Pueblo West now that are
Go to
declining.
the east side.
There's
Yeah.
parts of out east in the county that are declining. There's parts of Avondale that are declining.
4th Street.
It's 4th Street.
Santa
I mean,
Fe.
it's the homeless people that are coming up and down Highway 50 out in the county and up and down 36th Lane. They go bother those women there at the Loaf and Jug. I mean,
deli.
it's just the deli. I mean, it's just. Yeah, I've been out in the county. My family's been here over 100 years. So to see this getting destroyed right now is just, it's so bothersome. And you gotta, like we talked earlier, you gotta get the chit chat starting. And that's what Luke and I are
Definitely.
pretty much doing right now.
Dave.
Because when people
Come on the show
then
so
it
we
just all goes to
can
shit.
show you some video. We got an administrator in his administration talking about doing dope, gun on his side, badge on the shoulder, in the uniform, badge on his chest. Is that what
Jesus
we
Christ.
want?
You have him talking about that on video?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is that what we want? Like, that's not what I want.
That's not what I want for
That's not what I
anybody
want.
in my life.
When
Nobody.
you invite these individuals in your home, you think that their ethics are as high as they can get
Because of a title.
because of a title. And you look up to those people. And that's what we should do, is always look up to them. I'm not here to diss the police. I'm here to get Dave Lucero out of office, to make this community good. I'm not here to run anybody else down, because we got a lot of good deputies and we got a lot of good police officers.
Dude, 2 of them
I
are my
am
neighbors.
not here to run down law enforcement, because truly, like,
I
they
was law
risk our
enforcement.
life.
I was
They
law
might not go home
enforcement.
tonight.
You know, some of them have lost sight, and they've called. They're like, Joey, what the fuck? Like, wow, you feel like that about us? And it's like, no. The battle, you can only do one battle at a time, or it's smarter to do one battle at a time. But no, the problem right now is Lucero. He's letting shit crumble. It's the leadership. If there's another one, then someone else has got to take that battle. You know, people come to us, oh, it's legislature, it's this, it's that, and it's like, well,
You got to be really brave.
You fucking stick your neck out there and you do it. We're sticking our neck out on the sheriff. If you have a problem with someone else, then you do it.
Yeah,
We can't fucking do
sheriff,
everything.
If I was a sheriff and somebody's going to destroy my community, I'd call the legislatures out. I would literally, in my uniform, I would get on my podium every week and I would say, you're destroying the community. I'd call each and every single one of them out. You think our sheriff's got the balls to do that? He doesn't. No. He's a chameleon. He goes to the Democrats, tells them what they want to hear, goes to the Republican, and literally he's just coasting through this leadership with making almost $200,000 a year as sheriff. He don't want to call nobody out. He don't want to lose that position. And a leader calls people out. A true leader will say, hey, I'm going to give you 20 days to change this, or I'm calling you out because you're making us all look bad. And that guy won't. He won't call anybody out. He's just coasting through. He's got to have that seat. We know why he has to have that seat. We have the information. We know why our sheriff has to have that seat. But it's time, if we all come together as one, we could unseat this guy. And we could literally make monumental change for this community. Because Alan's going to start taking people to jail that victimize.
Because what happens when you make when you make public safety your first priority, and you start holding people accountable for their actions, and pretty soon, some of those shitty people, they'll leave, and then you know what I mean. Then it starts kind of getting cleaned up a little bit. Then investors start looking at the town and they start saying, "Oh shit, low crime rates. It looks nice when I pull into town. Fuck, maybe this is a place we can put a business. Maybe we can put a Buc-ee's here, or what the fuck ever." And then and then all of a sudden there's jobs and people are all prospering. It's not happening. So the first person that you got to hold accountable on the local level is the sheriff. It's the sheriff. It's got to be the sheriff. It can't be anybody else. And then the sheriff has got to get on the asses of the other politicians and say, hey, I'm the head law enforcement. Let's create a machine to get this shit under control. And then they do, and then they hold the state, and then the state will hold the you know what I mean? It just
a true good sheriff would actually call and help if you had to. If you're when our community was completely falling apart, a good sheriff would say, "Hey, Governor Polis, can you send us down 8 Humvees, National Guardsmen, to just cruise our downtown, not to harass our citizens, but just cruise our downtown and keep our businesses safe." There's those guys that are sitting on the base that are training for National Guardsmen that could actually, if he was in tight enough with the governor, and he was just explain his problems to our community and says, we need to save our downtown businesses. I don't want you to harass our citizens, but just take those Humvees and just cruise them. You don't have to harass people, but if you show strength and you show that like we're in the neighborhood, those homeless ain't going to break in and victimize our building. A good sheriff would actually say, hey, we're not going to do this for 4 years, but when crime is high, you say, send me 6 guys and just cruise. And they'll patrol all night. And if the governor allows the National Guard to do that, that's what you do. I don't want National Guard to run every city. But when our community hit the low that it has hit, and you can't even call, you don't have the balls to call and to get the mic and get on the news to say, hey, we need 6 National Guardmen here in Humvees just to cruise and keep our businesses safe. He's a failed leader. Well, and if I was sheriff, that shit wouldn't have happened.
I mean, as someone completely far from this issue, I don't think that's the answer. Is the answer more authority patrolling the community?
At first.
And maybe the caveat, the nuance of that at first is the important factor there. But I don't have the answers either. I'm just looking at it from a different perspective as you guys. But I like how invigorated you are. The conversation has to be started, but I can't just sit here and say you're right, because I don't think you're right. But I'm not right either. So at least you're sparking the convo.
You gotta do something.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's completely fallen apart. Just as simple as this. I see deputies will just go back to the station. Go back to the old days. Write your police report right there on a high traffic on Santa Fe. Instead of pulling in to the new station on Santa Fe, it's been there for like 10 years now. But instead of pulling in there and then writing a report out, stay on the corner of 13th and Santa Fe. Stay on Northern. Write your paperwork in your car there, because when people cruise the main drags and they see an officer sitting there writing a report,
definitely changes
it changes their speed.
Yeah.
It changes their outlook. Like if I get a 911 call, he's going to be there. He's 2 blocks away. But when you're writing reports in a parking lot that's not on a high traffic area, it just changed the perception of the community. If you post up, if you ain't got no call to go to, post up on high traffic areas So when people are cruising the town, they're like, boom, cop, sheriff, boom. And then it just changes the dynamics, and people go,
Change your perspective.
You're right.
give you
You're
a
right on that one.
perspective, like,
That's a
they're
good-
there.
That's a good idea.
They're right here.
All right. I have a challenge for you guys. It's been very, some would say negative. I want to know if you guys have one positive thing to say about Mr. Lucero.
He dresses well.
He dresses well. Just one.
Well, I'll say a couple because I'm not here to totally. I would say that he's really good at reading off of his laptop, and he wouldn't be able to do this without a laptop. He's really good at looking at that screen with all the answers, and when he swears in his deputies, like Joey and I were talking about the other day, he's sworn how many deputies? Well, a lot of them quit. They don't want to work for the guy. So he swears them in constantly. And then he retaliates against people. So you've sworn deputies like over 100 deputies. And you have to read off the laptop to swear them in. Like,
Should have it memorized.
you should have it memorized. And the only thing you should have is a piece of paper to look at their names, to swear them by their name. But he can't do this. I don't have nothing I'm looking at. I don't have no answers on anything. It's really hard for him to do this. If you get him here and you ask him some really tough questions, he literally will be like, "Oh, hold on, let me get my laptop. I got it." Like this stuff. This stuff should be in your head.
At the
This
forum,
is your everyday.
When Luke asked him questions, he just
At that
he
town
went
hall.
Back at the town hall. He didn't expect it, and he's just one of those guys. Yeah, he just got hit,
Like-
and he just started smiling and kind of laughing.
Miles
But he
Lucero
so
was there.
thrown off. It was so weird.
Miles didn't have a laptop. Kayla Beauvais, our DA, I didn't see any notes or nothing to read off of. She literally, when you watch that debate out at the, what is that place called in the county?
Fulton Heights.
Mm-hmm. Candace Rivera, Zach wasn't there. Candace Rivera, Kayla Beauvais, and Miles Lucero. They all stood up in front of the table. They addressed the audience. They stood there, put themselves out there, and talked to the audience. You know what Dave did? He stood behind the desk and he read off his laptop. It he literally, everything's not 100% clicking there. You should be able to just go without any information, say, tell me about the community.
Be a man of the people. I mean, you're not wrong.
Literally, if you take that laptop
man.
away from Dave,
Be a man.
if you take that laptop away from Dave, try it. Try taking that laptop. Try getting Dave and saying,
That wasn't nice.
take
wasn't
that
the nice thing.
laptop away, but he's good at reading. I'm just saying, he's good at reading.
He's good at reading.
He's good at reading.
He's good at reading.
And he's good at keeping that hair short. Keep going to the barber all the time. But other than that, when I found out,
after he called him out for the hair follicle test,
You got a haircut?
He got a haircut.
yeah, after I said let's get a piece of that hair, he went and go cut his hair.
You guys, oh my God.
So the moral of the story is we got to move this community forward. We need a new sheriff, and we had a lot of stuff.
just
I had a
don't-
lot
we
of
don't
stuff
wanna
I
do
wanted
this
to
shit.
show the
We
sheriff
don't wanna
today.
fucking do
It's a
this.
shame he didn't show up.
If he does show up, if he contacts me and he wants to sit down with you guys, I would love to facilitate that. If he wants to come by himself, I'd love to sit down with you by
No,
yourself
we
too.
need him here. You could bring some deputies if he's worried. Like literally, he wasted like $3,000 in taxpayers' money. So he could
Fulton
bring
Heights.
some deputies here if he's scared of us.
Oh, security.
But at Fulton Heights, when I said I'm going to show up to Fulton Heights, he had like 12.
A dozen.
He had like 2 undercovers there. They were in plain clothes. He had like 10 deputies, and
The
they're all
K9.
making probably $50, $60 an hour. K9 there, and they're getting overtime. So if some of them are some of the administrators are probably getting $40 an hour with overtime. They're getting $60 an hour.
Jesus.
And when you add up all that, he spent like $2,000 to $3,000 just to go speak to the community and do a, what do they call a community event
Yeah,
or
just a forum.
just a forum to literally tell the people like, hey, this is what's going on. He had his whole posse there for protection because I was going to call him out.
all the way around that gym.
And that's spent the taxpayers' money. Like he could have literally just showed up with one deputy.
and you've
a
never
can
been
of
violent.
mace.
You've never been violent
I've
towards
never
him?
threatened him. I've never done anything. I don't
He's
go.
loud. He ain't gonna.
I just speak my mind.
He's not gonna.
And he literally wasted thousands of dollars by just sending all these deputies. And then when I approached him with the podium, boom, they were like on me. And it's like, you literally did all that? Like you, like, damn man. Like
I mean, you think? I mean, if I was David, just my thought process, I would have less security. I would egg you on. I'd want you to hit me. Then I'd take you to jail. That's what I would do if I was David. I would egg you on, and then. Well, that's a good ass idea.
That's what he's doing. Why do you think my container got towed? It's been there for 5 years and it just got towed. I speak out. I speak out and they come take pictures. Oh, you got some weeds. I've called in.
The weeds is crazy.
I've called in 15 times on the homeless in the bus. Never an issue. Bought that bus, kick them out of there. I speak out, boom, they tow the bus. And one thing I want to touch base on. You know where they fucked up on that bus?
Where?
They took that bus. They wrote me a letter that said that it was an unregistered vehicle. Mm-hmm. I'm a used car dealership. We don't register them. They said that I had an unregistered vehicle on my lot and inoperable. Under state law, we can sell an inoperable vehicle. And how do they know it was inoperable? Because it wasn't inoperable. We drove it there. So they said I had an inoperable vehicle.
Oh, wow.
They said that we couldn't sell a vehicle that was inoperable and that wasn't registered. I have the title. It's registered.
So they're lying on your name.
They took my bus. They literally took it because they were tired of the homeless in it. I was tired of the homeless in it too. But why would you take somebody's asset rather than kick them out, take them to jail, kick them out, take them to jail? Take these homeless people to jail. It was literally like, if we do this to Luke, we'll silence him. If we do this to Luke, we'll silence him. If we keep fucking with him, we'll silence him. And I'm a man. I'm a man of principle. You ain't gonna silence me.
No,
I'm gonna speak my mind.
I respect it. Is there a bigger public enemy in Pueblo than you two right now?
Probably not.
I can't think of one. Mm-mm. You guys really have to talk to the town.
I mean, literally. So let me touch base on something else. We had Caitlin Garcia. She's a chief in the jail. Her husband captain or chief. Her husband called us in the middle of the night. I was eating dinner. I had family over the house. I get this phone call, anonymous. Fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. We're going to do just constantly. I was like, whoa, I had to step away from the table. I made sure I recorded it. And he started calling Joey. Same thing. And you could hear Caitlin in the background. And she's an administrator, and she works for the sheriff. And like the very next week, they're at Centennial High School after that audio. Mm-hmm. They're at Centennial High School, and the firemen, Jake Garcia and Caitlin Garcia, are standing here right next to the sheriff. Right after they just blatantly cussed us out and talked all this shit. Both of them are there, and her husband Jake literally threatened to threaten Joey and I, and he's literally standing right next to Dave. Is that what we want as a sheriff?
Some people think that Jake did that to try to get Dave Lucero had Jake do that to try to get Caitlin the job as the undersheriff. But that's what I'm saying.
They just trying to intimidate us.
But it's just a lot of people have came to us and they voiced their opinion on that, and now I don't know if that's true, but is it a possibility? Yeah.
This sounds like the most evil movie that I could think of a trailer for. This sounds like villains working tirelessly in the behind the scenes. Dude, this is insane. This sounds
we'll probably wrap it up in here in a little bit, but I literally could talk about this till midnight. There is so many stories. Like, I want to touch base on one other before I forget. So what's funny is in the Republican Party, when I go to the Republican Party and I go there and I talk to them, they're like, oh, we love Dave. Why are you going after Dave? The Republicans don't understand who the chameleon the sheriff is. So let me explain. Brad Rosillo, the deacon's son, started a union. Well, he also started the union with Michael Martinez. Michael Martinez was a deputy, and him and Michael started the union. And then Dave Lucero retaliated on both of them. Brad's back in the jail, and the deputies just want to unionize the sheriff's department because they want job protection.
Because of what happened to me.
Because what happened to Joey. Because he said Joey had job protection if he resigns. And I should have put that audio out. I was just over politics. I spent 2 years getting Gilbert Ortiz out. I was done. I was like, I'm just tired of it. I don't want this bullshit, you know. And then when it just constantly keeps happening to good people, I'm like, all right, I got to rise up again. I got to speak out. But Michael Martinez went to go work for Woodland Park because Dave Lucero retaliated against him and made it hard on him. So Michael Martinez goes and works for Woodland Park. Well, he gets tired of the commute. He had to literally leave our community because Dave Lucero was retaliating against him. Goes to work in Woodland Park Sheriff's Department. Tired of the commute. He was going to run for sheriff. So he put his name on the ballot. He's going to run for the Republican sheriff. Then he gets a job offer with ICE. So Mike Martinez gets this job offer with ICE. He's the Republican candidate. Dave is retaliated against him. Dave Lucero, our sheriff, goes to the Democrats, say you're not going to work with ICE. Then he goes to the Republicans and say he's going to work with ICE. So he's a chameleon. So Mike goes to work with ICE. He gets a job. Mike then reaches out to his best friend that works for the sheriff's department that has a canine. And Mike says, hey, when ICE comes to Pueblo, can we use your dog, the canine dog? He didn't say when they're coming to Pueblo. He didn't say what date he's coming to Pueblo. He just said, when we come to Pueblo, can we use your dog? So then that sheriff deputy told the sheriff, Dave Lucero, and says, just put down what Mike said in a memo, put it in writing, and send it to me. So he, thinking he's doing his job and going to just say, hey, Mike wants to use a dog with ICE, just if we come to Pueblo, could we run a dog around a vehicle or whatever we need to? Yeah. That deputy, that guy, that administrator put it in writing. Dave Lucero took that form and he sent it to ICE.
Said you guys are leaking secrets.
He said that Mike was leaking secrets.
What the fuck?
So Mike's out in the field with ICE one day. He's out in the field and he gets called by his boss. And his boss says, hey, Mike, come over here. He says, are you talking to a sheriff deputy in Pueblo and telling him stuff? And he goes, no. And he's like, well, that's what we heard.
Lieutenant.
The sheriff deputy said you were talking about when ICE is coming to Pueblo. And he's like, I didn't say any dates or anything. So he goes, all right. He goes, all right. I just wanted to ask you. 2 weeks later, they call Mike in the office. He fires up his laptop, goes to work. They said, hey, we're going to get rid of you. And Mike says, what do you mean you're getting rid of me? He goes, you're telling a deputy when ICE is coming to Pueblo. And this deputy's like, what? I didn't even say anything. Or Mike tells his boss, I didn't say anything. He goes, where's this coming from? And then the boss tells us, this is coming from the sheriff, Dave Lucero. He said that he sent us a form or a
copy
of what your buddy wrote up and sent to the sheriff to request that canine, and he got him fired. So Republicans are like, oh, we just love Dave. Like, he is a snake. He will target against anybody and everybody. And Republicans, they haven't woke up yet.
You just can't have someone like that with that type of mindset where you're just always wanting to retaliate and go. You got someone that's got to be level-headed, no judgment going into it.
Take public scrutiny,
because when you put the head law enforcement of an entire county in charge and they got a mindset like that, that's fucking dangerous.
It's literally
dangerous.
Sure, definitely.
It's literally
it's dangerous.
Like,
I agree.
Even people from Mexico come here because they're tired of the Mexican government, how corrupt it is. Mm-hmm. And we're turning into that. Our sheriff is turning into that. You speak against him, he targets you. He takes your job. He puts people on the street, parks in front of your house. He flies drones over your house. He tows your stuff. He calls or he orchestrates things like that to happen. He just does.
Well,
So we can't have that. We're going to turn into Tijuana, or we're going to turn into Juarez, Mexico, and that type of government leadership if we keep that guy in office. Just plain and simple. He is literally when do you ever see Dave actually go out himself? It'd be interesting to pull the police logs, how many times he's pulled somebody over. He's driving a brand new vehicle, probably a $100,000 SUV, maybe $120,000, and he don't even pull people over. Total waste of funds for the county. Shouldn't even be driving a brand new Tahoe if you're not pulling people over. Like, they're in a budget crisis, and he's ordering this decked out thing with black wheels, ordering everything all decked out, fancy ones. All these high-tech, you don't even pull anybody over. Why don't you just be humble enough to drive an old piece of shit and save the taxpayers some money and drive a hoopty and just say, hey, I'm going to be a good, wholesome sheriff. Oh, no, it's about cut the hair every day. It's about retaliate against whoever speaks to me. Look at my nice black wheels on it. Look at this $120,000. It's pointless to have that. We need a sheriff that says, give me anything with lights on it, and I'm driving it.
Yeah,
but this guy is like, it's all appearance. He goes to the golf course. He's always on the golf course. He's always in the bars. Our community's being destroyed.
Maybe this picture will resonate with the viewers. This is I'm sure you guys have seen this. This is what it's like, a leader versus a boss. You know, the leader is gonna get right in front of the line, as opposed to a boss who's just gonna kind of bark orders.
Right.
Yep.
100%.
And you just got to get a sheriff. Like, I've talked to a lot of deputies, and they'll tell me, they're like, dude, he's literally like drunk at work. They'll be like, you'll go by him and you can smell, and his eyes are all glossy, and he's like, looks like he's like, imagine that your sheriff shows up to a call, had like 2 or 3 drinks, and imagine
SWAT
he
call-outs.
accidentally shoots somebody because he just
I'm suing
sober.
the city. It's my city. It's Derrickville.
Been drinking on the job. Well, even if he had 2 or 3 or a shot or whatever, and you literally go to a call and you have to grab your gun and you're impaired, and that's what we got as a sheriff. Like, we can't have law enforcement that's drinking on the job. You just can't have it. You could accidentally get shot by just the wrongful impairment of like thinking like, oh, the guy you're not thinking right when you're drinking. You're just not thinking right.
I mean, arguably, I don't want my sheriff like. I mean, I don't even want you drinking really like that much on your own time. You know, you're probably, how old is David? 50, 60?
Probably 50.
I don't even know.
He shouldn't be drinking.
50, 51.
He probably shouldn't be drinking at any point. I mean, drinking's not good for you. I don't want my leaders to be drinking on the job. I don't want them to be fucking their lives off. I don't know. This has been such an eye-opening conversation, guys. And guys, let us know what you guys want to know. You guys want to read some comments before we get out of here? Oh, Brandon Medina says, why doesn't Luke run if he's so concerned?
I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be a politician. That's never anything in my heart to ever. It's not an accomplish for me. It wouldn't even be an accomplish. I don't want to be. I don't want to have a title. I just want to see the community turn around. Don't force me to run for office. Clean the community up, and I won't run for office. If Dave Lucero cleans this community up, if he would have, which I want Alan Medina to win for sheriff, but if he would have cleaned this community up, I would never think about running. But I don't want to run. I have no plans in running. But if they keep messing with me, I might throw my hat in the race.
Yeah, I would like to see.
I don't want to run.
I do
not want to run.
Sheriff, under sheriff, or maybe the other way around, whoever you guys want to do it. That'd be awesome.
But I am just, and I'm not running, but just to make that clear, I'm not running. But you can only poke a guy and prod a guy so much before you finally just say, hey, I'm putting my hat in the race.
For sure.
And I'll literally make monumental change if I was in office. And I don't want to do that. Absolutely. Don't even have a heart for it. I want to just go on, live my private life, and just enjoy life. But when they prod at me, I rise up. Mm-hmm. And I always will.
As a good man should. As a good American
just
should.
Leave me alone. And when I speak out and they raised my property taxes in Beulah, I've had a property up there. The taxes were less than $100. I bought this property in Beulah. The taxes were less than $100. They raised my property taxes to over $4,000. It was, and I spoke out against the assessor. I said, vote him out. He's raising people's. I wasn't the only one. He was doing this to all kinds of people.
Oh, wow.
I spoke out. Guess what? They just targeted me. My house. They have literally raised my property value. They lowered my neighbors $60,000. They lowered the other neighbors $40,000. They lowered the other neighbor $60,000. They lowered the other neighbor $50,000. They lowered everybody's value around me, and they raised me like $60,000 to $80,000.
Because you're too vocal.
Yeah, and it's the bullshit. They can't take public scrutiny, and it's like, oh well, we'll just do this to them. Like you'll correct them on something like the assessor. Oh, you don't have cows on your land. Get the fuck over here and look at the cow. Don't tell me I ain't got them. I'm not sitting here lying to you. If I lied to you, then you can say, hey, I don't believe what you say. But I've never lied to you. I've told you there's cows in Beulah. Like, this is what the assessor did. Let me tell you what the assessor did. I bought this property in Beulah. The second I bought it, I put cows on it like within months. The assessor goes, you never had cows on there. I said, yeah, bullshit, I did. You never had cows in there. I said, I did. He goes, well, we took pictures. I said, let's go to your desk. I said, pull the pictures. Oh, well,
couldn't find them.
Well, I got to get, I said, because you didn't. He goes, yeah, there was a new stock tank there. I said, yeah, duh. There's a new stock tank there because I brought that stock tank there to water cows. And so then they still didn't believe me. So then I said, do I need to get the church involved? The pastor lives right next door to the ranch. Do you want to talk to the pastor? So I literally had to give the assessor the pastor of a church. And he called. He's like, was there cows on Luke's property? And they had to fucking confirm it. Like, and then they finally, after hitting me for 5 years, it was like 4 or 5 years at $4,000. I paid $16,000 to $20,000 in excessive property taxes. It was between 3 to 5 years. Get the numbers right. It was 3 to 5 years. I paid this astronomical $4,000 a year for this one property that should have been under $100. They literally wouldn't believe me. They had to call the pastor. I thought you had pictures. You said you had pictures. There's no cows.
Talk to the big guy, the big drum, the big drum upstairs.
So they actually literally got on the phone and called the pastor, and then they confirmed that there was cattle on there. And okay, we'll change it. And then the same thing happened again. There ain't no cows on there. They got this little 1 acre piece of parcel that's surrounding another property I have. They raised that one to like $2,500 or set. It was astronomical. Should be like $80 or $35. And they raised that, and then they have the audacity to tell me, you ain't got cows on there. I said, get over here. Get the fuck over here.
Look at these cows.
And it's just they're not for the people. You got to have people in there that are for the people. Mm-hmm. They're for big establishment. They're for themselves, personal gain. You got to get people in there that are for the people, that want to help the people. Not this, I drive around in a county truck and I'm authority and you do what I say. That shit's got to stop. We're all people. You just have a title. You wear the same underwear as I do. You eat the same shit as I do. You just have a title. There's no different. We're all men. Get the whole ego stuff off your shoulders. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, all the sheriff is, he's just a man with a title and a man with a badge. If you take away that title this June 30th and you take away that badge, I promise you he will either kiss his ass and try to get a job at the U.S. Marshals or somewhere higher and try to get it through the old sheriff, or he will tuck tail and he will run and leave this state. He has no rental property here. He has nothing to keep him here. If he loses, he won't stay here. You need people that are invested in the community. You need where they have a big family here. You need people to run for office and say, my cousin lives across town, my aunt lives over there, my brother lives there. They're invested. Dave Lucero's not invested. His wife's, his mother-in-law, they live out of town. You need people to run and that don't want to leave this community.
Definitely.
The second it doesn't go his way this election,
abandoned ship.
He's abandoned ship.
We'll see.
And that's why the town looks like it does. He's got no investment here. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a big family here. You need people that have family here. They're invested to stay here for the lifelong because their families are here, their people are here, their relatives, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and we don't have that with Dave. Mm. His sister is in New Mexico. His mother-in-law is up north. You know, his relatives are in New Mexico. The second we take that badge away from him, you're going to see him leave this community. Mm. He ain't going to stay unless he kisses his ass and gets a job somewhere.
And we'll see.
And play that audio, what he did to Joey Musso on my
Jared Miner's asking a question. Yes, we kind of touched briefly on that on the sheriff at the debate. He didn't show up. And yes, he has spent $45,000 of taxpayer money in a county that's currently going broke to sue his own people at the union. So, yeah, that's just another thing that Dave Lucero has done.
He's literally suing.
Thank you for bringing that up, Jared.
He's suing his people The sheriff is suing his people because if they go unionized, they have job protection to a degree. They'll have union representation, attorneys, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want the sheriff's department to be unionized because he wants to just retaliate. Say, you're fired. I don't like you. You're fired. I don't like you. He wants to. He'll lose his power if the sheriff's department unionized. He'll lose his power. And I'm not saying I'm a union guy. I'm not saying it. I don't know much about unions. I really can't comment on them because I don't know much about unions. I've never been a part of a union. I've always been self-employed. But I do believe that I've heard this from good people. They have said, when we go out there, deputies say, when we go out there and try to clean up the community, we don't worry about getting gunned down by the public. We worry about going back to the sheriff's department and getting gunned down by our administrators.
Yeah.
They're gunning for you. They're after you. They're trying to jam you up. He says, we want to go out and clean up the community, but when we go back, it's politics. It's a good old boy brotherhood that certain groups of people have protection, and then they jack with the other deputies.
And it's weird too, because there's we can go real deep into it, but I mean, you start talking about the kind of parties these guys attend and what they do with each other, if you know what I mean. Like there's
you're saying there's some gay allegations?
No, I wouldn't say there's gay, but I think there's a lot of fucking going on, and you know, it's just we've been told some kind of crazy
like swingers.
Stuff. Yeah. So we've been told some crazy stuff.
On that.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with swinging. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with swinging, Joey. I'm not gonna let you
throw
in swinging in the mix.
About that, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there's some. It's keeping their minds a little murky. I don't know if that's totally going on, but it's law enforcement, and I know when I worked there, I stayed away from that kind of shit. But you'd see all that kind of shit going on, and
little evidence disappears from the locker.
Not even that, but just like the part, like the swinger parties and stuff like that. But just you know, and I don't got nothing against people for what they do, but if they're all kind of doing that with each other, they're kind of really in deep with each other.
Yeah, no,
you
definitely.
know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So it's just something to keep in mind.
If Alan Medina does not win and David Lucero wins, the shitstorm that you guys are going to release, man, I'm going to be sitting here watching, and hopefully we can talk about it. Hopefully he doesn't win. I mean, I'll whatever is best for the community. Realistically, I'm going to be voting. I'm going to do some research. So however it goes, hopefully we can come back and have a deeper conversation.
To kind of end this thing, is it all boils down to a moral compass.
Yes.
Is when you have a moral compass that you work for the sheriff, and you see that he went after the bishop, you see that he fired Joey, you see that he says he could banish people from the county, you see that this guy says Joey Musso has job protection if he drops out of the race, you heard it that he says that he feels bad for Joey's son, and yet he did it anyway. He retaliates against Brad Rosillo, he retaliates against Michael Martinez, he retaliates against me for speaking out. When you work for a sheriff like that, and you have a moral compass, and you still protect this man, there is something that's morally wrong. If Joey, or if, let's just say, I worked for somebody that was a pedophile, I could not support that man no matter if he gave me my job or not. So these people that stand behind Dave, there's a moral compass deep down inside of them that's just off kilter. There's something not firing right. Either they want power and power is here, or there's just something not firing right. And I see that, and I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Like, we've put these stories out. We've educated people, and we ain't put what we have out. If we put what we have out, oh boy.
That's crazy.
That's going to be dangerous for us. But what we have and what we have put out, which we're going to put some stuff out. We're going to talk about some stuff that we don't know. We're undecided on some of the stuff we have. And we're going to put some stuff out. And we're going to put some audios out. And there's an audio that I'm going to put out of Dave. Literally, our sheriff says, don't send me anything because I don't want to have to write a report. Don't send me anything because he's so lazy. Look at the community falling apart. It's completely in shambles, and he's saying, don't send me anything because then I'll have to write a report, and I don't want to have to write a
Reports
report.
can be this fucking big.
A
if you
report-
get sent something.
Damn.
know
You
what
can
I mean?
literally
It's
take
not-
15 minutes and write a report, or
Don't-
talk to text in your
Yeah.
phone, and he's that lazy. Don't send me anything, because then I'm going to have to write a report. Like, that what we want as a sheriff that wants to just coast through and make $200,000 or almost $200,000 a year and just not even have to write a report? That's why we see Pueblo decline the way it's declined. He doesn't want to write a report.
Yeah.
He literally switched to be a Republican sheriff, he says, to piss off his dad. Like, literally, are you like 12 years old? You literally registered to be a Republican that he says to piss off his dad. You can't believe a damn thing he says. And if that is true, if you became a Republican to piss off your dad, then what the fuck is wrong with you? You literally did that just to piss off your
Yeah,
dad?
the intention.
Like what in the hell's wrong with this guy? Like, I'm not going to go register for a certain party just to piss off my dad. I'm going to do what my hardcore values are. Like, and when he says this stuff, and some of the stuff we have that we're undecided or releasing, and we got to talk about it some more, but we're going to release some stuff. And you're sitting back, and Joey's going to release that audio when he got fired. Joey's got it on audio, and Joey called him out. He's like, dude, you're smiling. You're getting a kick out of firing me. And, like, we're going to release that so the public could see. Like, one other thing I'm going to release. Dave and I had it over the phone. I let Dave know what he did to Joey was unethical. He literally called me a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And after he knew that I was going to play politics when he came up for re-election, I said, I'm going to release something. And I says, and what you did to Joey was totally unethical. We don't go to the bar together. We don't go out to eat together. We've never had coffee together. We don't go to lunch together. He calls me a week later and he's like, hey, man.
It's crazy.
He says, I got a 223 and I got a silencer. If you want to go coyote hunting, I'll help you. And it goes pop. And I'm going to release that. Our sheriff literally called me
How
a
do you-
2-minute phone call.
What's your take on that?
Sounds like he's going to kill
After
you.
you just
All right.
got into it with the sheriff,
Sounds
and
like
now
he's
he
gonna-
wants to go coyote hunting. And
Sounds-
never even been coyote hunting.
Sounds like you're going to disappear.
Yeah, what he wanted to do, he wanted to go coyote hunting. He wanted to take me out and say, oh, we had a disagreement and
Or
Luke
an
pulled a
accident.
knife. Or Luke did something, and he would have took me out. And nobody would have investigated it, and they would have said, oh, he got irate. And he would have took my ass out. If I'd have said, yeah, let's go.
goes pop.
He's the sheriff. And,
Oh.
and you're going to tell me how, I mean, I don't need a silencer to go shoot coyotes. It was a silent intimidation. It was a silent intimidation to say, let's go coyote hunt, and my silencer is so quiet it goes pop. He was sending me a message,
Yikes, man.
plain and simple. And I'll release that, and it'll probably be next week sometime. I think the ballots get sent out Monday, and I'll probably release it Monday or Tuesday or by Wednesday. I don't know when do the ballots get to our house.
Hey.
But I'll release it so
Get out
people
of
can hear it. But that type of leadership has got to come to an end. We cannot have that. And the people that protect him are the people that they shouldn't. They either need to wake up or they shouldn't be in that position either.
All right, y'all. On that note, guys, let us know your thoughts. Luke, where can the people follow your journey, man? Shout yourself out. Shout your Facebook out.
So if you go to just Luke, Luke, last name Wodiuk, follow my Facebook page. That's the one I mostly post off of. Go to Facebook, Luke Wodiuk, and follow me. And you're going to see some stuff. We're going to put out Joey's firing, his audio. We'll put out some audio of the sheriff. There's some stuff we're undecided on putting out. We've got to get some legal advice on some of it, what we're going to put out, what we're not, and talk to some people about it. But we're definitely going to put out some stuff for you. You're definitely going to hear the coyote situation, and you're going to hear him not wanting to write reports, and that's why our community's crumbling. You'll probably hear some other things too, some really good stuff. But and you'll hear Joey's, and you'll hear why we need a new sheriff. So we appreciate whoever is watching. I don't know what following you have, but we're gonna push for change.
We got a little bit of a following,
He's
you know.
getting close to 100,000.
We got a little bit of a following, you know. Arguably Colorado's #1 biggest podcast. So thank you guys so much. Joy, where can the people follow you?
You can follow me on my personal social media. It's all at Joey Musso or at Joey_Musso. So be there, and also rent out tables and chairs too. So I got to give a shout out to Uniontown Rentals. So
Hell yeah.
if you're having a party, quinceanera, whatever's going on,
Get your box too.
and yep, get your slopper box or slammer box at mussos.com. So it's going to be MUSSOS, mussos.com. So appreciate you, Deryk, for having us here. This is awesome.
Always,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming. You guys are always welcome here. Guys, please hit the subscribe button right here on Street Champs. We will always be breaking the latest news right here every single day. We out.
Thank you for watching.